Hey, welcome back to another episode of Duff's Tavern. Today I'm joined from David, who is the owner of Reforged Gaming Lounge down in Charleston. Tell everyone about yourself. We're going to make one of the main drinks that he likes,
Yes.
the Island Delfino.
Yep, the Isle Delphine, not the Bella Delphine. That one's made with bathwater and gin.
I didn't have enough money for that yet.
No, it's well, my wife keeps wondering why I'm using her bathtub all the time now, and I'm just like, it'll pay the bills. It's fine. We'll make it there.
It'll pay off.
Exactly. But yeah, dude. Like I said, David Barker with Reforged Gaming Lounge. My buddy Chris and I just opened up our first ever location here just a month ago, up in Dorchester Road. Basically, it's a modern day arcade with a full bar that you guys have been able to swing by a couple times. So it's been really fun to see you guys there. We sort of had this concept a while back in like 2017, 2016, where we wanted to have like a modern day arcade with a bar. Wanted to be able to take the social aspect and the fun side of an arcade and modernize it.
Mm-hmm.
So like the old, the classic arcades were fun. You spent tokens and you were basically have a great afternoon. But as consoles started to pop off more and more, became more accessible, and then the games libraries just exploded. Obviously, the old arcade machines stayed pretty stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
So it became less and less of a popular drive with the new Mario coming out, or the new Street Fighter coming out, or Halo, and everything like that.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh yeah.
So what do you think compared to your bartenders?
Listen, it's pretty good. I like this. I like the bubbly of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to compete though with Matt. Matt is like a professional.
Yeah.
Because he's been working at pubs in England for like 20 years.
Yeah, he wins. I just play one on a podcast.
Dude, it's fun. It's a good character to play, man. And it tastes good.
I did bartend for like 1 year because I worked at Taco Bartina.
Yeah.
So I bartended there along with line cook, and I was counter for a little bit.
Okay.
But I only bartended like Sundays, so I got really good at mimosas.
Yeah, dude. We're about to start teasing mimosas out in the next couple of weeks. We're gonna be doing mimosas, and then we're doing like we always try all of our cocktails. We try to theme after like a video game theme. So we're gonna do like a Sun Sprite or something, and then we've got a shot that has like a splash of like hot sauce in it. It's gonna be the Angry Sun from Super Mario 3.
Yeah.
I think. And we'll be pushing that out pretty soon, probably in the next few weeks.
You could make mimosas praise the sun.
Yes.
There you go.
Praise the sun!
Boom. Yes. I have one of those shirts, dude. I was either gonna wear like a gaming shirt or my business shirt. I was just like, fuck it, either way. I look better in black.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, dude, it's good. I like it.
Yeah, it didn't have any like recipe, but I saw like the components. I'm like, I can probably figure this out with.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the drinks I've noticed are like the same pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So like if it's just one basic liquor, it's usually like 2 or 3 ounces, and then that stuff. Or if it's like multiple liquors, it's like a normal shot or like 1 ounce.
We try to keep the balance.
Yeah.
So like people don't feel like they have to like guess like, okay, is this gonna be like a really strong one that's gonna fuck me over, or is this one gonna be real tight?
Yeah.
And we try to keep a balance, so that way everyone's like pretty cognizant of how much they're drinking.
Yeah.
And it makes the math super easy too.
Yeah.
So, but we started this concept back in like 2016. We were doing pop-up events all over like breweries and taverns and stuff across Charleston. We had a good stay at Frothy Beard for like a year or so. We did some stuff at Player's Place for a while, where we hosted some Smash tournaments for the Smash community. We had some. We did a lot of Mario Kart tournaments. People loved that stuff. But people were always asking us, like, hey, where's your brick and mortar? Where's your space? And we didn't have one.
Yeah.
And in January of 2020, we were about to sign a lease on a space and get a small business loan.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone comes in right at the last second and buys out the entire building that we were going to lease a part of. And we're like, well, shit, okay, that's fine. And then all of a sudden, COVID happens.
Yeah.
And, a long 2 weeks to slow the spread later, it's 2022, and we're like, fuck, we need to start getting back into this thing. Like, we need to start saving up again, because, COVID hit everyone really hard. Chris and I blew through our personal savings just to, like, pay bills and shit.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, let's save up. Let's build this thing again. And finally, in early 2024, get the lease, get the loan. 6+ months later of construction that got delayed out of the blue for a bunch of bullshit, we finally get open.
Yeah.
So it's been good, dude. It's been a wild ride. Especially as like a first-time business owner. you get to know about like all the shit you don't know.
Yeah.
And the more you know, the more you realize you don't know dick.
It's like the
Crazy.
same as when you move out for the first time, where you're like, oh, these small little things I never would have thought until like the problem arose.
Yep.
But what was the like area were you looking for the North Charleston area, or were you more trying to get like a centralized for Charleston, like for like the first building that?
So we were initially looking somewhere around like the Hanahan area, because Hanahan is relatively central. Like it's literally 15 minutes from West Ashley, 15 minutes from downtown, 20 minutes from Mount Pleasant, and then you can pull from all of North Charleston.
Yeah.
And dude, even in residential, but commercial is the exact same, if not worse. As soon as something pops up, it goes.
Yeah.
And we all know, everyone who lives in Charleston, obviously, housing prices have skyrocketed, which includes also a commercial space. So in terms of like budget and stuff, we were having to look all over. We were looking West Ashley, downtown, obviously out of the question. Mount Pleasant, some parts looked appealing, but the price was crazy, and also it's hard to pull people to take 526 all the way to Mount Peak.
Yeah.
It's not a good pull. And so we were just like, we found a couple spots in Dorchester, and Dorchester's been blowing up, dude. Like, Somerville has a plenty of pull from Somerville, plenty of pull from all, like, the neighboring neighborhoods in that area. I would have liked it to be a little more central, but it turns out, like, physical location, especially because it's got direct visual access to Dorchester, which is one of the busiest roads in the city. It's been good. A lot of people have just walked in and been like, "Hey, I saw your sign." I'm like, "Yes, that's exactly what we needed."
Plus, it's like a turnoff right off the road, so it's like easy where you immediately come off of, I don't know if it's an interstate, but whatever. Yeah. I'm bad with like landmark.
Like phosphate to Dorchester.
Yeah, like
dude,
you turn
100%.
right off of it. It's right there on the right. It's like a really good location. Not that hard of a drive.
Yeah, I mean, I live 5 minutes from you, and it's a 20-minute drive.
Yeah. Plus, you're also right by the best like fast food place, Cookout.
Cookout is yes, dude. I was so surprised by Cookout. Like, I went to college in Myrtle Beach. Went to Coastal.
Same.
Oh yeah, I remember clicking on that. And I remember when they opened up that Cookout, and I lived the next light down to the left, all the way in the back in that ghetto ass apartment complex. And I remember driving by, and I never heard of Cookout, never seen nothing. And my first ever interaction at Cookout, I'm pulling out of Cookout, and when you're trying to judge people as like they're driving up the highway on 501. Any road really, you're trying to judge how fast they're going, and sometimes like you think you've got plenty of room to pull out and you don't.
Yep.
Well, my first time pulling out of Cookout, this cop is like peeling down 501, just like probably got to be 80.
Yep.
And I pull out and didn't realize he's going that fast, and he slams on his brakes, and I'm like a 19, 20-year-old kid. I'm not doing anything dumb. I just pulled out, and he immediately horn honks, lights flick, immediately pulls me over. And he pulls me over, and the first thing the cop thing to say is like, "You know why I pulled you over?" And I said, "Because you knew I'd have hush puppies in the car." And he cracks the fuck up. He just starts cracking up laughing, and he's like, "All right, I was speeding, and my bad. You give me the hush puppies, we're even." And I go, and I'm like, "Dude, hold up a second." This is like pre-body cam bullshit, too.
Yeah.
I was like, hold up a second. But once again, I'm 19, 20 years old, being like, I'm going to get out of a ticket.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, fine, give him the hush puppies, peel out around, go back into the Cookout.
Get another thing of hush puppies.
Another thing of hush puppies for like 50 cents, $1, whatever it was back in the good old days, and then get home. Have the funniest story to tell my roommates.
I have a few like run-in with coastal cops, because like I was with the rugby team from there.
Yeah.
And of course I was underage, so
Yep.
I had to sneak alcohol, and we had this one time where all the rookies had to do Edward 40 hands.
Oh, man.
So I have like 40s. I had to buy my own. So I have them in my backpack, wrapped with the T-shirt. I'm trying to walk as normal as possible so they don't hear any clang.
Clinking, yep.
And then a cop like pulls up right next to me and be like, "Hey, do you know where any parties are?" I'm like, "I have no clue, man."
What fucking question is that?
He was trying to catch me lacking.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, I think they're back at like Beaver Creek," is like what I heard as I was heading down to Quail Run. That's what it is. So I was heading down to Quail. He goes off that way. I get there. The 40s are taped to my hands. I already finished one of them.
Yeah.
The other one, I was halfway through finishing, and the cops come and bust the party. No one will remove them from my hands.
Right.
So I'm running back to Eaglin with 240s taped to my hands, and I can't get my ID out of my wallet. So you
Right.
see me in front of the scanner just waving my ass right in front of it. I hit the like handicap one, door opens, I get to my room, my roommates just see me walk in with 240s. I'm like, can you please get these off my hands?
Por favor.
But it like Costa was wild because even like my first time there, I did like beer Olympics.
Yeah. So, do you remember the first? So, it's the mess hall's right there, and you got two dorms right
Yeah.
there to the left and right.
Ingle and Eaglin, I believe.
Right. The right hand one was Eagland.
Yes.
Yeah. So I lived in Eagland.
Same.
And the behind you is an apartment complex.
Mhm.
So back when I was there, and like I'm 32, I just turned 32. There used to be a ditch that you could just walk through, and there was like a little bit of woods that you just go around. And they fucking kept the cops and the security kept ripping out that board that people were using.
Yeah.
So you'd see drunk college girls trying to jump a ditch in heels, not working out really well. But then there was an access point on the left-hand side where you basically would have like a door or like a gate door to that fence that sometimes would be locked, sometimes not. And if not, you just have to climb the fucking fence.
Yeah.
And I remember my buddy, I love John to death, but he's a bigger guy.
Mhm.
He tried to help climb the fence and did do his thing. He sees me climb the fence. He's like, oh, I can do that. Immediately rips the shit out of his pants going into a fucking party. Packed house in that apartment complex, and he's got to like play it cool.
Yeah.
He's got to pull the swag on. I'm like, dude, you're struggling here tonight. It's gonna no matter what you can be Don Juan. You're still gonna be struggling
Yeah.
tonight.
I think they actually made a bridge now. Like I went
Oh, how
like
nice.
2017 to 2018. I only lasted like a year and a half.
Right. So as soon as you got in, I got out. So
Yeah.
I graduated in like 15, 16,
Mhm.
and went to West Virginia.
Yeah.
So that place was fucking wild. Dude, I got lucky enough to not only do decent in school, but also go to two of the biggest fucking party schools in the country.
Oh yeah.
Where you have Coastal, which is like, it's not college, it's Coastal.
Yeah.
And then you have West Virginia, which is just all hills and liquor.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I remember, like, but the thing is, like, Coastal, I don't think would have been as much of a party school had it been snowy. Like, it's a party school because it's
Hot all
on the
year,
beach.
or like decent temperature all year.
Exactly. And in West Virginia, the first winter I'm there, massive snowstorm.
Mhm.
And I'm in some friend's apartment, and I'm seeing this giant, like these hills that go up these streets. Because it's all hills up there. So anytime that you're wanting to go down a block or up a block, you're changing elevation by 30 feet.
Yeah.
And I see a little, like through the window, I see this little speck off in the distance. And it's this guy, and he's trying to make his way up a giant, steep hill as can be, with nothing but snow and ice.
Mhm.
And he's got something behind him, and I can't figure out what it is. And I zoom in on my phone. He's got a snowboard that he has taped about 4 or 5 cases of beer from the gas station that he's trying to make it up to his homeboys up like in the apartment complex like a few blocks up, and he's
Yeah.
just struggling, just going, but he won't stop. He's just mushing like fucking Balto. Saving the kids.
Yeah, my family's from like Wheeling, West Virginia, so
Yeah.
we go up each year. It's so weird with like mountains because I finally drove for the first time, and I'm used to like
Yeah.
Charleston being flat, and then like the mountains are like, oh shit, I actually have to hit the gas and
Oh, yeah.
all that.
I mean, doing just I ended up selling my one Jeep for another Jeep that had 4-wheel drive.
Mhm.
And my dad was like, it's going to save you. Trust me, it'll be 10 times worth it. And this was a piece of shit Jeep. I went from an okay Jeep to an absolute destroyer of my money. Like, it just took every single bit of my money, from never having the oil pressure right, never having the AC working, horrible. But one of like the first times that I had to really go in the ice, I was going up a hill,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden I wasn't going up fast enough, and it slowed down, and it started sliding and slicking, and it started going backwards. And I'm like, oh shit, because by the time, if I didn't stop, it would have been to an intersection, and that intersection was just nothing but cliff side. So if I didn't stop, it would have gone off the cliff.
Ooh.
And so I'm just panicking as hell can be. I've already got half a buzz in me. And then like I'm just like slamming on the brakes. That's not working. Until finally I just pull the parking brake, pop it into 4-wheel drive while it's just coasting backwards. And it finally slows down enough to where it just teeters down. And I just pop that bitch into neutral, rev it up a good bit till about 2,500 RPM, pop that bitch into drive, shoot it up the hill, and then I'm like, okay, I made it. Definitely not the way you're supposed to do it.
No.
I made it happen. Got
If it
there.
works, it works.
That's all it was. It's like I just need to get to this house and get home and get comfy. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to get home. I wanted to see my family again.
Going to Coastal West Virginia, what was your major? Is it with
Psych.
psych major?
Yeah. So got my BS in psychology at Coastal with a certificate in gerontology for like older adults. Went to graduate school in West Virginia for lifespan developmental.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a crazy kind of thing because you can study different parts of development from like adolescence. A lot of people go for adolescence because it's like a big kind of subject. Some people go for like newborns. Some people go for older adults. I did lifespan developmental, which is basically from womb to tomb. So it's like you get to, you get to sort of see, you get to study like both like physical, psychological, and social development all throughout from your prenatal all the way till you pass. And it's pretty cool. Like you get to see how important certain like sort of like choke points of development are, and even into older adulthood. Like you'll see old people that'll be at a factory for 50 years, right? And then they finally retire, and then they don't do shit, and then their health will just careen. And they figured out if you can pretty much be active physically, cognitively, and socially in your older adult years, your likelihood of living longer and more successfully is going to be like infinitely better. Kind of like the object in motion
stays in motion.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how it works with like older adults, because if they stop, they'll just careen off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you've noticed for like anyone that retires the moment they retire, it's just like some old people travel and try to do that to supplement it, but the ones like you said that just like, this is my retirement. I am done.
Exactly.
It's like you hit retirement, then 10-ish years later is just, which is wild to think of.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now we're seeing it in the boomers, obviously, like, and it's mostly in guys because that generation had a lot of like stay-at-home moms. So the wives are typically already pretty active. They go to church, they do their like clubs, they take care of the grandkids, they're active, they do all that stuff.
Yeah.
When the dads finally retire, their entire identity has mostly been in their work.
Yeah.
And they sit down, they get the gold watch, they get the kick in the ass and the pension, and they're like, okay, cool. And they sit down and they just watch TV and just annoy the shit out of their wives. Because that's all they fucking do. And then it's just like the wives are like, dude, I married you for life, not for lunch. Just get out and do something. So it's sometimes
have a
like
hobby.
Dude, exactly. And then sometimes, like, and usually when you see an older dude get into a hobby, it becomes his identity. Like the stereotype of like the trains.
Yeah.
It's like it takes hours and hours of time to like get really particular, or like you maybe get super back into the gym, like
Or
TRT's a thing now.
Or into history, or into barbecuing.
Yep.
Like there is the joke that there's a subclass of dads.
Oh, dude, absolutely. You can spec. You can go really hard into barbecue. You can go really hard into the gym. You can go really hard into World War II. Like it's usually one of those three things. You get really into World War II history, or you go to the gym. Sometimes you can sort of do like a quality build and do like a bit of strength and dex, or you're just gonna go really hard into like one other weird thing.
Strength and constitution.
I'm a strength and dex. I'm a quality build. Ever since I found like, dude, the Claymore in Dark Souls is probably like my favorite weapon of all time, next to like the Uchi Katana. And if you could just do like a good combination of dex for like attack speed and then strength, you could just clock through most of the game without having to worry about too much.
Yeah, in RPGs I usually go strength and charisma build.
Okay.
Because like I love the talking thing throughout Fallout, where I've just been, let me see how this goes, like with the charisma things, and it's fun. I'm even when I play D&D, like I usually have a high charisma caster.
I typically go bard for the charisma.
Yeah.
Like my buddies and I during COVID, we did the Rick and Morty D&D adventure.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it was so funny. Like I got to be the D&D. We all dressed up as like different characters. So I dressed up as Rick, who was like the DM. Blue wig, lab coat and all. My buddy went as like a barbarian, so he had like a Viking helmet on and like had an axe or whatever. One of our guys had a wizard outfit. And then one of my buddies surprised us as a rogue, but instead of dressing up as like a cloak and like dagger and stuff, he dressed up as Rogue from the X-Men with like the tight like
Yeah.
spandex suit and like
God.
a big brown wig with a streak of white in the hair, and it was so fucking funny. Like he had to like text me before like they all came in and did their intro, and he's like, "Can you come zip me up?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you telling me right now? What do you mean?" It was, I don't know. It was, the intro was so funny just to see people just walk in and to then see like they're all set, ready to go, and then Evan walks in dressed in like a singlet with a wig on.
Have you seen, it was like a video floating around from Magic the Gathering where you see, I forget who all was playing, but one of the guys who normally wears weird costumes is like in a hoodie and pants, and he's playing Laura Croft. Then he like puts on the Laura Croft wig and then unzips his jacket to reveal the tank top and then pull away pants to have the Laura Croft shorts.
Oh boy.
I've got here we go. All right. And then also.
Oh my God, the tearaways.
Yeah.
That's great. The pull-away pants really sells it
Oh.
too. It's like the full like transformation.
Yeah.
And you can, those pull-away pants, they're tactically very useful for a multitude of situations. And but TikTokers and YouTubers have found really good use for them. I'll give them that.
It's definitely an attention seeking. Just even the sound to begin with, you just hear a whole bunch of butts just unbutton. Yeah, it's it definitely like will pull a crowd to look at you.
Oh yeah,
Without a doubt.
They'll catch you visually. Cause like it was like, what is that? What are the bottle caps going off? And it's like, no, it's just some asshole in fucking short shorts about to play some basketball or something.
Then it slowly just falls down.
Yep. He tosses it like a fucking cape.
Yeah. Going back to Reforged a little bit, just talk a little bit more about that. Is there like, are you set in like what this is what you thought about, or is it more of a starting point then you might expand more and more?
Oh yeah. Like it's definitely at a starting point. Like right now we're in sort of like a phase 1 kind of deal. Mm-hmm. We have the main infrastructure that we want. We have like those little cutaway sections for the console couches that we really like. We've got the PC polygon, so we've got like 20 something PCs right now. We got the Legacy Ledge with like the N64, the Genesis, and all that, and we've got an area for tabletop. I really want to build off on tabletop a lot because of how much fun it can be. Like last night, some dude brought like a massive like treasure chest of stuff, and he had bought the Star Wars poker set.
Yeah.
And he had like these like chips, like they looked like Imperial credits and stuff that he was showing, and they were playing like space poker. It was insane. And then I wanted to, initially in the first part of the budget, I wanted to get like a really, really nice tabletop table that you can play D&D in.
Yeah.
So like you had cutouts for drink holders, and you had like a felt inseam.
Like the wormwood stuff.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And so that's where I really want to put like really nice ones, like $6,500 to $8,000. And I'm like, okay, we need to push that into like getting stuff fixed, like in the kitchen. And that's one thing I'm really happy with, like how popular the kitchen's been in terms of food items. But one thing I definitely want to do is build out the infrastructure for the kitchen, just because we had no idea how popular the food items would be. So right now we're running like 2 air fryers. That's it.
Jesus.
So it's like last night when I was trying to like reheat pork belly, redo like run onion rings, fries, chicken dingers, all this craziness. We're just like, okay, we need to update this. We need to upgrade this because we're trying to stay away from deep fryers.
Yeah.
Like you've worked in the back of house enough to like, as soon as you introduce a fryer, it's just a madhouse, and it sucks because you have to deal with grease, and grease gets everywhere.
And it's a mess, and the smell, like frying tortilla chips. Like I had like my work shirts, I would have in a separate bin just because they would just get the entire smell of the kitchen.
Oh yeah, I come home even still with just the air fryer, and my wife's just like, "Oh, you smell like fryer." Yeah. And I'm like, "Okay, fine. At least it's not deep fryer. Like I know exactly what that's like." That was one thing I hated about in like taking over a space. The previous tenants gave no fucks.
Yeah.
They had knocked that big wall where the Legacy Ledge and the Christmas tree were. They had knocked that wall down without telling the landlord and expanded into the vacant space and just took it over. And then whenever Dorchester County's like inspectors would come to check on the grease trap, it would always be an estate. That was just horrible. And they would tell you, like, hey, you got to fix this. Hey, you got to fix this. And they clearly knew that they were about to shut down.
Yeah.
Because they were having shootings and shit all the time and everything. And they're just like, we don't care. So I had to clean that grease trap by hand, and it was horrid. It was like trying, like, the first section of it's just all nasty ass water that I'm having to like pump out, and then the right hand side that catches all the grease. It's basically like just sticking your arm into pluff mud and trying to pull that shit out. And there was probably like 30 pounds of just pure grease that was just solidified over like course of like 3 years, and that could have cost us like $1,200 to $1,500 to have somebody come and just take care of. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take care of this. This will take me 2 hours of just nauseating like work, but I'll get it done.
Yeah.
And so I would show clips of stuff to like Dorchester County of like, hey, this is what I just did, and like, dude, that's rough. That's rough. And I'm like, yeah, dude, someone's got to do it. He's like, well, you could have paid. I'm like, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
I got other shit. I got PCs to buy. I got Xbox to buy. I got PS5s to buy. In this economy, absolutely not.
Just like the PCs you run, like at minimum, are like $2K just for all the space and everything.
Yeah, peripherals and everything.
Yeah, the startup cost I bet was insane.
It was. So doing a small business loan, that was one thing that really sucked about COVID, is that pre-COVID we were a pre-existing business because we had generated revenue doing these pop-up events.
Yeah.
So we were considered an existing business by the Department of Revenue, which means that, hey, if you want a small business loan, you can put down 10%. That's great. We were like, dude, we can easily put together a really decent loan for that. Come COVID, we go 2 years without revenue. And they're like, well, now you're technically a new business because you didn't have revenue for 2 years. Yeah. And we're like, not even, like, you're not taking COVID into account? And they're like, no, they're not taking COVID into account. So we then had to double our down payment to get the same amount of money. So it went from 10 to 20%, and we're like, fuck. So we had to start with like a significantly smaller like budget than we wanted, but we had a really great project manager. We had a really great advisor on like how to save money in certain parts, how to find alternate ideas for like solving things. It was great. This guy from George Riano from Green by 3 projects, he's awesome. And he had been following us and sort of cheering us on since like 2016. So when we finally got the business loan, we're like, George, it's time to rock and roll. And so he was super diligent on just helping us find solutions for shit, which that's one thing that, you know, coming from like working your entire life, you sort of learn how to solve problems. That's what most of your life is, just figuring out how to solve shit.
Yeah.
And going into being a small business owner and an entrepreneur, that's all it is. Every day is just like, well, how am I going to solve for this shit?
Yeah.
How am I going to fix this? How am I going to take care of this? So like, what was it? Yesterday, the system that we use for like the gaming PCs.
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals was not launching on Epic at all. Like it just kept hitting running and then close, running and then close. Perfectly fine on Steam, but it was a known issue, and so they were like, okay, cool, we're just going to drop this PC into admin mode, flip a couple buttons, and now it launches perfectly fine. Great. Okay, that makes sense. But that's all it is. Just every day it's just problem solving, making shit work. And, you know, eventually when we grow, I'll be able to sort of like take a step back, see it all, and be like, okay, breathe.
Yeah.
That's all I'm wanting
you
to
can
do.
do like the admin stuff instead of like having to be in the fray.
Exactly.
Which like it's also fun being in the fray because you get used to it.
Yeah.
But
there's a mania to it that you kind of become like in sync with.
Yeah.
So and it can be addictive, but at the same time, I'm wanting to try to like, I like talking to people. I like meeting people, like seeing like, hey, how'd you find out about us? Like, hey, what are you playing these days? I love doing that because that way I get to sort of see get an ear to the ground of like, what the fuck are people playing? Other than going on like Reddit and YouTube seeing what's trending. I'm like, I'd rather just talk to people.
Yeah.
That's why I like your Discord server, is that I get to see what everyone's playing. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. People are checking this out. Rivals broke 20 million players in 2 weeks, which is, I did not think that it was going to take off like that.
I thought it would because it was just Overwatch. All the other like hero shooters were decent, but not good enough for Overwatch. Like TF2 is technically a hero shooter. They tried with Concord, that failed. Deadlock's another one that came out, but it's a MOBA hero shooter.
Yeah,
there was
Paladins as well, which is cool. I like I love playing Paladins, but it's a copy paste of so many things.
Yeah,
that it doesn't really have its own identity. It's like, oh, this is kind of like, you know, the Costco version of this game and using elements of this.
Yeah.
Which it can be fun, but it's truly not like unique enough for people to be like all in on it.
Plus like the Marvel background definitely gave it a lot more hype.
Exactly.
And then along with the hate for Blizzard and Overwatch and that stuff, and people being like, I hate this, but there's no other one to go to.
Yeah.
The moment there's another one, we see what happens.
True. I mean, it's a good IP. I like the mechanics are really good. The maps are nice. The fact of like the team up system, where it's like you can have characters that sort of play off of each other, is very unique. I like that a lot. I hope they don't patent that.
I don't,
so other people can do it.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna force queue because I hated that in Overwatch.
Yeah.
Because like I was just stuck at a tank and say like, oh, we need like drop a tank, have a little bit more healing. I like the switching because I have learned to play tank, DPS, and support, so I can just switch to wherever we need.
Yeah, I think ranked will probably have that just for the sake of just keeping the quality of gameplay okay. But I can't see why they would need to do that in quick play or casual play because you can really in casual play, you'll probably end up seeing more in terms of like early on in the game, in the state of the game. You'll see more metas develop in like the quick play status than the ranked side.
Yeah.
Because you get a little bit more liberty and a little more freedom to just fuck around with shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh wow, like Hulk and Star-Lord can do this really crazy fucking combo that's not even a team up kind of capability, but it just fucking works really well. And then it'll translate into competitive scene. I'm excited to see how the competitive scene in Rivals plays out because, like, with, say, like Fortnite, Epic sort of set the rule set for competitive play. I don't know how Marvel is going to set rules for competitive play. Are they going to copy-paste, like, Activision Blizzard's for Overwatch, or are they going to kind of go on their own kind of route? That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I am also curious about that. I haven't really tuned much into the esports league. The only one I really tuned into was I think it was Mogul something, Ludwig's like esports team. I only tuned in because like they're playing Valorant.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is interesting. It's off of Moist Critical's Moist, and I had no clue what was going on half the time because the only like competition I've really seen is like Smash Bros. Tournaments. That's it.
Dude, there's a really nice community in Charleston and in South Carolina for Super Smash Brothers. Like, there's still a small dedicated community to Melee, which I love. I grew up on Melee.
Happy feet, wombo combo. That ain't Falco. That ain't Falco.
You know, when I first got a Switch, Ultimate's fun, and it's definitely taken the forefront of the Smash community just because it's the newer game. But there's a lot of really fun, like, talented dudes in Charleston that know how to play the shit out of Smash.
Yeah, I've never played Melee, but I've watched, like, Mango play it online.
Okay.
And, because I never owned any Nintendo consoles. My first one was the Switch.
Yeah.
And I played, like, the original Smash Bros. On the N64, but that was my cousin's, and I had no clue how to play.
So what was your console sort of timeline?
PlayStation.
So
I had PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And then switched to PC and got a Switch.
Okay, so mine was kind of crazy. I went from Genesis to GameCube to 360 to PC.
All right.
Yeah, never had a PlayStation in my entire life, but I had a bunch of friends who had PS2.
Yeah.
PS2, probably one of the greatest consoles of all time, in just terms of like library alone and longevity. Like 360's up there definitely with longevity, because you had like Modern Warfare 2, Halo 3, Black Ops 1, or
Gears, Halo.
Absolutely.
What was the other? Fable.
Fable, absolutely.
Dude, like, I hated that I had a PlayStation because I wanted to play Fable so bad. And I grew up watching Fable 3 because I would watch YouTubers, Uberhaxonova and Spoon play that. I'm like, oh, I want to play that so bad that I finally bought it on the PC and then haven't played any other Fable.
I 100% wholeheartedly attribute Halo 3 to me wanting to start this business. Because I remember back in the day when you had, like, your parents had a computer room. So back in the day, I would go to, like, I call them my cousins. They're, like, close family friends. You know, in the South, they do that shit, right? So I would go to, like, my cousin's house, and we'd do, like, a sleepover. And their bedroom would be upstairs, and the computer room would be downstairs. We'd run, like, a 100-foot Ethernet cable from the router up the stairs with, like, duct tape and shit, and then plug it into our Xboxes, and we would just in their bedrooms we'd be playing Halo 3 all night.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started, they were really good, and I sucked because I didn't have Halo 3 at the time.
Yeah.
And you can easily like go easy on your cousins, go easy on your buddy. No,
No.
they didn't. They were like, no, we're going to kick your ass until you get good.
Yeah.
So I was like doomsday. Like every time I die, I come back a little bit stronger, and eventually. I'm playing against my buddies during COVID and stuff in Infinite, and I'm just absolutely crushing them.
Yeah.
They're just like, you're cheating. Like, what? What do you fucking think? I hacks in here, boy? No, dude. I had to go through the fucking gauntlet in 3. Why do you think I'm hitting headshots in the BR? Because if I didn't, I was gonna die and get shit on by my cousins.
That's how my cousins were with Smash on the N64. Like,
Yeah.
they're a good bit older than me, and I was young. I'm like, I want to hang out with my cousins. They're like, you don't have to fucking work for this.
Exactly. You got to earn it. You didn't die because you wanted to. You died because you had to.
Yeah.
There was no point. I mean, there's no way around it.
And then also growing up with my friends, I've always been the comedian of the group.
Yeah.
That occasionally pops off, but I've always been shit at anything I play. So I occasionally had to get good. Even with Smash Bros, I started playing with my coworkers at work. No past history of Smash Bros playing it normally.
Yeah.
We would play every break. And I started improving, and just over time,
Yeah.
I have been getting wins. It's like a trade-off because I'm a Piranha Plant main. My
Okay.
buddy was a Mario main.
Okay.
So it was always the back and forth.
I was a Ganondorf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I liked his. He was beefy, but he was kind of like a little bit of like a beefier Captain Falcon, where if he hit you, it was gonna be like a truck hitting you.
Yeah.
And so the little bit of time that I played just casually multiverses, it's not an awesome game. There's definitely some lag issues, and it's very floaty.
Yeah.
I think that's what people complain about. There's a character like Black Adam. Black Adam is pretty much just Ganondorf, and if he gets that one big punch on you, he's gonna knock you the fuck out of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
It's and playing against Ganondorf, so I would just throw them off to the side and just get them enough where they had terrible aerials. So, and the recovery rate was so bad. So all you had to do was just throw them off and then wait.
Exactly. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Sometimes just let them kill themselves. It's like, hey, just hold up, let it happen. Boom.
You're just standing at the edge watching them fall.
It's so satisfying too.
It is.
You're just and you can even do a pose, do a little animation, and you know that the other guy on the side of that controller is so fucking pissed. And that's what gives gamers the elixir of life, is knowing that you have fucked over somebody else for your benefit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's great. It's the only time we're not going to be able to do it with real estate. We're not going to be able to do it with the stock market like the boomers. But my God, will I get some dude pissed off in COD?
Yeah. I'm so glad hot mics are back in COD. It is the best thing to come back in Call of Duty, just because the unhingedness of all the hot mics. Whenever you kill someone, you just hear "fuck," "god damn it," or
Yeah.
they have quick little 3 seconds to try to roast you back.
Oh, exactly.
Are you fucking kidding me? Listen, bro, I'm not saying you have the tiniest dick on the planet, but fuck!
What were we talking about last time?
Oh, dude.
Smash Bros.
Yeah, we were talking about Smash Bros stuff. Cue the technical difficulty music after that. That was fun. But no, that's just that's technical stuff. That's the fun technical stuff of recording, figuring shit out. Dude, you want to try this recorder league?
Yeah.
So we got 2 options here. We got your this is our raspberry mango or mango raspberry, and that one's a strawberry lime.
I like both of those flavors.
We'll do both, dude. We'll pour them out. We'll have some fun. I brought them for us. So
There you
go. Matt, one of my bartenders, like I said, he's from England, and so we had started working with a smaller vendor for different types of meads and ciders.
That's an interesting color.
Here, I'll let you sip that here.
Really sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had been working with this smaller vendor by the name of Brooke, and she sells tons of different types of meads, ciders, non-alcoholic options, and she had sold us on this recorder league. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, let's try it out. We got a case of it, and Matt's first day, he sees that we have the recorder league cider, and he freaks out. He's so excited. He's just like, this was such a big seller in the UK. This is my wife and I's favorite cider. We drink a ton of it. And so he was telling us, you got to get this flavor, this flavor, this flavor. I'm like, well, hold up. Let's pump the brakes. We'll try one more flavor. And for people who don't drink a lot, this is their favorite thing.
I when I went to Ireland, I loved ciders before, like going over there. But I was drinking just Guinness.
Yeah.
I needed to switch it up. So they had like Bulmers and Orchard Thieves over there.
Okay.
Which like Orchard Thieves is like Angry Orchard here.
Right.
And Bulmers is more of a tartar one, which you can find in like Total Wine.
Yeah.
But it was always like the popular one that finally made it stateside.
Right.
Along with when I was over there, I went to the Smittix Brewery.
Okay.
Dude, it was cool. I miss Ireland.
I'm going next year.
What part?
Not sure. Well, we're probably doing the whole thing. So my wife and I are going to Ireland for our honeymoon.
Nice.
So we just got married in November. And then we're like, okay, we're going to save up now for the honeymoon. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to probably land in Dublin. And then we're going to go to, so it's going to be like, trying to make sure I get the camera angle right. So it's going to be Dublin, then Cork, then Galway, and then up to Belfast.
Nice.
So we're going to go up to north for a little bit and check out the beaches there. Because they have like these black beaches off the hills that are just absolutely magical.
They also have the rocks that are in perfect hexagons, like right off the coast.
Okay.
When I went to Dublin, Cork, Limerick, Galway, and Kilkenny. We did like the
Okay.
southern tour because we were playing some of the rugby teams from there.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wanting to go to north just to be able to check it out and just see what it's about. And there's definitely a lot of history, a lot of fun stuff that's going on there, obviously. But there's this Irish group that's called Kneecap. That is absolutely insane,
Yes.
dude. I fallen in love with
just
these
started
dudes.
following them.
Yeah, dude, they have the fucking Irish balaclava on. It's so cool looking.
Yeah.
They just won a court case with the
Yeah.
UK government because like the director of what is it? People who live in the UK, if they're an artist, they get like a $14,000 stipend to be artists. And the UK government, or one of the government officials, denied their ability to have that because of the connotations in their music for Irish independence.
Yeah.
And they sued the government and won. And it was a pretty big court case. It was pretty nice to see them actually have like a significant free speech victory in the UK. So,
Which is rare.
yeah, yeah. Oh, but yeah,
Because I think, Count Dankula.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
It was in Scotland, but I forget if he won or lost that court case because he was the one that, as a prank, taught his girlfriend's pug to do a salute.
God.
If you remember that back in, like, I think it was like 2012.
Yeah, about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, it was a good bit. But, yeah, it's rare to have, like, free speech cases go in the favor of the person.
In Europe, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it's insane. But, yeah, I heard Kneecap. Another artist that I think is based in Ireland is called McGuinness. He does a lot of, like, Irish covers. He has an insane fucking vocal range.
Yeah.
And he finally came over to the U.S. and he was touring with my favorite sea shanty group, the Longest Johns, which is
Okay.
a British sea shanty one.
Yeah.
They came here and I was seeing if there's any concerts close. None.
Is he like skinnier with a little bit longer hair?
No, I think
He was just
that's,
on SNL.
that was Hoser.
Hoser?
Yeah.
Okay, because he had there was this one artist that I had just seen. I think he was just on SNL last night.
Yeah.
Where he did the Drink It Down to There. Mm-hmm. He was that. Is that Hoser?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He also
Nice.
did the Fairy Tale in New York too.
Yeah.
On SNL. Hoser is another amazing artist where like he just has an amazing voice. Golden McGuinness is more like YouTube stuff. He does all his vocals, plays so many instruments. Like it's wild how the internet has like blown up like good musicians.
Yeah.
At the same time, they've blown up terrible musicians too. But
Yeah, I mean and there's some of these guys now who would literally will just try to do like punk covers. They're like rappers who try to do punk covers, and it's like so auto-tuned where it's like you'll see the comment section and you'll just see like them just going like, oh, this is so good, I'm so good. It's like, no, it's not. Like, watch this dude perform live. This guy will not sell in a 500 room person room. He won't sell two.
yeah.
Like, he won't sell two. He won't break half. The promoter will lose his ass on this.
BB No Money actually is like one of the good artists that took off
Yeah.
because he leaned into like the internet culture, and he said recently like how much he loves gamers because he put no copyright on his songs so they could use it in videos and everything.
Yeah.
And
Which is good, dude. It just gets your stuff out there.
yeah, if you like work with a lot of the creators, it throws your stuff out more. It's wild, but like
You're not seeing a lot of like younger artists go for copyright strikes.
Yeah.
It's like the Marvin Gayes of the world who are just like, I'm going to sue you for every note you play.
Or like it's been the battle with Nintendo for the longest time because they always try to get like stuff off YouTube. Like they shut down multiple Smash events because it's their property.
Yep.
Like this is putting you in a bad light if you just let it go unless someone does something bad with it. But
Yeah.
if you let it go, people are going to like you and it spreads more. Like they haven't realized yet.
I think the new Nintendo of America, I think, is starting to get it a little bit better, but they still have to deal with like headquarters. So there's a lot of stuff with Nintendo. Like there's significantly less Nintendo content on YouTube because of that. So like you'll see a big time streamer that'll like get a 3 or 4 million view Mario Kart video. They're not gonna make a dime off of that.
Yeah.
It's literally just for the fans because the fans are demanding it. Like sure they might go on Twitch, like stream it on Twitch, and they'll get some, they'll make some money off of that. But YouTube, they're not going to see a red cent most likely because they know that they're not going to be able to put ads up on that.
Or they're suing Power World for the capture mechanic.
Oh my god, dude! Like I was so sad to see a clip of like them now they do like a hip thrust.
Yeah.
Which is just like, okay, that's clearly just like, hey, we have to patch this quick or we're gonna lose money. So I'm just like, you got to clean that up a little bit. But it was such a cool. It's such a cool concept of a game.
Yeah.
Like it's creative. It's very wonky. Like it's very weird looking. Like it's definitely looks like it's a modded out of the blue kind of game. But I was watching a couple guys play it in the lounge, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of see the appeal to this because there's like boss fights. There's like almost like raids, and then there's a creative aspect to it where you assign pals. I was literally gonna say Pokemon to like do construction and like create shit and craft stuff and collect resources. And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty interesting way to do it. Like that's one of the things I love about certain games that don't copyright or they don't put patents on certain mechanics because they become absolute shitters for it. Like we're never going to see another game other than Shadow of Mordor have the Nemesis system.
I know.
Because Warner Brothers decided it's like, hey, we're going to patent the Nemesis system. And it's one of the coolest concepts that's come out in a RPG like that in a long time. And they're like, you're only going to see it with us. I'm like, why? That's pointless.
Just imagine for like modern games, like how they've taken like the Souls-like combat and put in so many more games.
Yeah.
Imagine like the Nemesis system. I cannot talk today.
Yeah.
Nemesis system in like an Assassin's Creed game. It's like that one guard that like finally got you ranks up to captain or something. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan, so it's a slap in the face lately.
I mean, it's fine. Like, dude, we literally we made a house account for Black Flag. So now anyone there are tons of people who love the idea of playing as a pirate.
Yeah.
But they've never gotten to play Black Flag. However, like now I think it was on sale, dude, for like $15 or $12 on the winter sale. We picked it up immediately. It was like, okay, we're going to make a house account. So literally anybody who walks into the lounge can now play Black Flag for the first time.
I just got all the Metro games for like $9 on Steam.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
There was a sale for all of the Mass Effect games, like the remastered Mass Effect games for like $5.
I got that also.
Yeah.
Like a while ago, but
there's a community member who's been playing Veilguard like nonstop for the last like 3 weeks. She comes in every day and just plays Veilguard all day, and then now she found like she got the Mass Effect games and she's like, can I just download these real quick and like play? I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I want to like I'll probably have to like save the image so that way she doesn't have to keep downloading them over and over again, like 'cause that's a pain.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I like about like talking to people is like I can see what they're playing, and if all of a sudden they're playing a game that like we don't have downloaded, I'll just save that image on the server so that way they never have to like re-download that game ever again.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is a game that you're wanting to play consistently. Sure, we'll save that image, push it to the rest of the PC, so now anytime that anyone logs into a PC, they don't have to download that particular game anymore.
Yeah.
It's now good to go.
like we were playing Lethal Company last night. We swapped from Rivals to Lethal Company. Or like I was trying to get them to all play Among Us because it'd be fun to have like a giant Among Us server.
Well, we have Among Us on there. We don't have Lethal Company, but it's like a 5 megabyte download.
Yeah,
it's super
It's
small.
a gig game. It's just like that.
You guys were playing Bronzebeards as well.
Yeah.
Which did you guys discover that on your own or at the lounge, by the way?
At the lounge.
Okay, I'm so happy because there was a couple, it's a mom and a dad and a daughter that play that game at the lounge. And I'm like, fine, let's just add it to the image so that way they don't have to deal with it anymore. They just log in and go.
Yeah.
And then there have been like so many people that see it now and are like, oh, this game is awesome. And I'm like, okay, great. You get to sort of allow people to discover shit.
Yeah.
For the first time, which is so fun to see.
It was fun up until like we crashed, then we went to Lethal Company. Like I crashed and I had the server, so
fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. That sucks.
There's just been like a lot of crashing problems out on like my games on my computer or everywhere. I don't know if it's just like
Steam's been dropping the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact, dude. I mean, they just need to pull the trigger and allow people to download faster. I'm sick and tired of having to wait 30 hours to download a new game.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't work properly with like the read speed on your hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
So like you'll see a big spike of download and then it'll go to 0.
Yeah.
Big spike and then go to 0. It's just because the download is not properly syncing with the read speed of your hard drive, and it just slows it down even worse.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see Steam be like, okay, we can kind of increase that download limit speed just to allow quality of life. I'm tired of downloading GTA for 6 hours.
Oh, dude, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
I have to like set time out of my day, or like if I'm like I want to play it.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, download it, then go to sleep, wake up, I can play it.
Oh yeah.
But have you heard Steam they're putting new rules into the Steam store to deal with like DLCs and everything like that, where they said if you have a season pass, you have to clearly state what's going to be in the season pass and meet that criteria, and if you don't, it will be taken off the Steam page and everyone will be refunded.
Huh. I mean, integrity-wise, that could keep games to a certain like level of integrity, but it can for like, dude, that could fuck over. Like, there could be like an issue where it fucks over a lot of players.
Yeah,
but
I think they're more targeting like EA and Ubisoft, the people giving like season passes and then giving nothing in the season pass.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. Oh. Sea of Thieves early on, Sea of Thieves was like that for their passes, but then they sort of like figured out like, oh, okay, people actually want to see good content. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, good idea. Game developer for making good content.
It is so wild that we're just regressing back to like they now send out like the bare minimum game that can be complete along with all the other patches.
Yep. Oh, dude, I was so hopeful for Sea of Thieves come launch, and it was empty. And then like I don't play it for 2 years, and then all of a sudden it's fucking amazing. And I'm like, where was it this day one, dude?
Fallout 76. I got the Tricentennial Edition, got it like day one, was playing it, then it just like went out fast because I got bored.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, this is like a desolate world with nothing, and the only people I can talk to is like robots, and if I see someone else,
right,
I just get radiation damage, die immediately.
Yeah. My buddy Chad and I just downloaded it and started playing, and so far it's fun.
It's so much better now.
Well, what you just said is absolutely ridiculous. It's so much better now.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not a good thing for the state of play. Like, dude, my buddies and I pre-ordered Skull and Bones because we were excited to be pirates.
I'm so glad I waited on that. I was watching it, but I'm like, it's Ubisoft. I'm holding off.
I made the mistake. I went like I did the pre-order for like 5 days of extra access, and initially it's fun, but after like 20 hours, you really get to see the limit of what there is. Now they started after like a month actually pushing more stuff, and I'm sure it's better now.
But it's a
quadruple-A
game apparently.
Dude, now I will say like the world boss kind of things are kind of fun. So like there's some things that are fun. The idea of you running a smuggling empire is fun, but it's not what it needs to be, and it is so hard for a game to have a good ending where it's like not every game can be fucking No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
where it's
or
like
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my god, what a fucking disappointment those two games were, and then all of a sudden there's a glow up of insanity, and like which is cool, but it shouldn't be that.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's a lot of games that are doing that now where it's like, oh yeah, we'll be good in 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, don't fuck me over, dude. Don't tell me that you're in 1.0 and then, guide me along. Don't fucking edge me for 2 years and tell me that I have to like, oh, well, you're just not understanding. I'm like, I understand that I paid you money for a game.
Yeah.
A $60 game, now $70. I get inflation. I get the cost of playing games compared to now what it was. But if you're going to tell me that you want to sort of stay with inflation compared to like this game from the 1990s, have a quality of game from the 1990s where there's not going to need to be a fucking patch to say, hey, we have a legitimate game now.
Everything was sent day one.
Exactly. Yeah. And now I get day one patches. I completely understand day one patches for optimization. If you're beta testing and then all of a sudden you gain access to 1,000% more data and you're seeing issues, dude, if you have a 10 gig update on day one, I get it. You did some work. But I still want to be able to play a full game.
Yeah.
It's an understandable thing. Like
Larian did an amazing job with like Baldur's Gate because I got the early access and played through it.
Yes.
And you see how much like there's still support behind the community. There's mods and everything, and it's it's not a multiplayer game where it's the same story over and over again, but everyone's doing multiple different runs. There's a lot of replayability with that.
It is
compared to like I think like the only other game that came out that was like a good single player in my opinion was like Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah, dude.
Like, it was so fun coming out. I loved it, and everyone online like saw like giant hype for it, and then it dipped down. I'm like, what do you expect? It's a single player game. Once you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
And I like that we're now, for all the gamers, are just praising good complete games and pushing that out more, and the ones that are doing like
dog shit.
Yeah, are doing dog shit. Like Ubisoft is down in market shares. They might sell off some stuff.
EA is struggling as well. They've been struggling.
Oh yeah.
Like, and here's the great part is that it's also starting to show off that small development companies can make awesome content. Like Helldivers 2 does not have a big team.
Yeah.
Like, and they easily could have been Game of the Year. I still don't understand how Astrobot became Game of the Year. It is so dumb. Like, they didn't push any boundaries. They didn't try anything new. They just made a cool, fun little game.
Yeah.
It's a good game. It is. But they didn't try to innovate anything. Yeah. Like, I think, honestly, you could have seen Helldivers 2 or Black Myth have a much better argument for Game of the Year.
Helldivers could have, but they had that controversy a little bit halfway
Sony.
through. Yeah. But that sort of like tanked everyone. I'm back playing it again with like the new Illuminated thing because I got bored with like just the robots and bugs. It was fun, but it was like the Illuminateds have made it more fun and like stuff to do.
Yeah.
But
it's to the point where now we want to do like a live party for that, where it's like, hey, let's have a bunch of people just come out and play Helldivers together. It's like, let's spread democracy.
Yeah. The Warhammer game was also really fun when it came out. I enjoyed it so much. I had like 3 friends. We would all play the campaign, go on multiplayer, play it. It felt really well put together. It felt balanced for multiplayer. Like if I fucked up and died, it was like, okay, I didn't do something right.
Yeah. They had some issues with balancing initially. So the first patch, they had some gun balancing they had to work on. And then initially at day one, they had a little bit of single player issues where it was, even on regular difficulty, it was pretty darn hard for a single player to kind of like get through it. And I was watching my buddy streaming on Discord. He was struggling. Like he's a good gamer, but he was having a rough time of it. And then they finally kind of addressed like, okay, we have to sort of scale it a little bit per person. And there are games that do that really well. There's a couple of Warhammer games that balance for difficulty as more players are added.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to have, because obviously if you keep it a single player and make it easy for this guy, it's going to be way too easy for 4 people.
Yeah.
So to be able to properly calibrate that takes some time, takes some data to take in, but they can fix it.
And you just have to listen to your audience. It's like the best feedback is thousands of people who play it and thousands of people who actively love the game and want it to be better. Like you just have to listen to the people playing.
Oh yeah. You want to see feedback? Well, look at Steam reviews.
Oh, I check out game ranks for before you buy for any game I get, and then look at the Steam page.
Yeah.
And it just gives you like a good sort of just idea of like, okay, what am I getting into? Because I saw like one game I wanted to get that I saw like the Steam reviews were shit. I'm like,
What was it? Do you remember?
It was this. It looked like Animal Crossing mixed with a survival one. A really niche game, but it was like PvP, PvE, Animal Crossing survival.
Okay. PvP and PvE.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looked. It was like a $10 game. It was interesting. like just looking at it. And I'm like, I'm gonna hold off for a little bit. I saw like the reviews were good now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might try to convince some friends to get back into it, into it.
It's a challenge to convince your friends sometimes to play a game. It's like, guys, be like, this will be great, and then you have to sell that game to your friends, and you're on the hype, but you have to get them on the hype train, and then all of a sudden, if it's dog shit, you're gonna get hounded. You're like, you made me waste $40.
Yeah,
you motherfucker.
My buddy Campbell keeps bringing up New World. Because I got it, I was playing it, and then like no one would play with me. Then he got it, and it was just about the time like another game came out, so he got New World. We never really got into it. He's like, I'm not buying another game because of New World. So if there's a game I want him to play, I either have to really convince him or just buy it for him.
Right. My friend group is really on the edge about Civ 7. Civ 7 comes out in like 2 months, and we're all Civ fans. The amount of like hundreds of hours we sunk into Civ 5 multiplayer games together, and then the lack of hours we put in Civ 6, just because Civ 6 was so much, we just didn't like it. And all of a sudden, where it's like, I have my buddy Chad, who's like, I'm never buying this game again. And then Civ 7 trailer drops. He's like, oh man, don't pull me back in. Don't make me do this. Like the same thing with like, because we got fucked over with Payday 3 this year.
Yeah.
Like my buddies and I put hundreds and hundreds of hours into Payday 2. And Payday 3 comes out. You can't play it for fucking 4 days because the servers don't work. And then all of a sudden you go in and it's like, it's just not good. It's shitty. It's like really bad mechanics. It's not solid. The servers aren't going held together. And everyone's just pissed. Overwhelmingly negative in the course of like 3 days. And you're like, oh, this is rough. This is bad. And you just see their Twitter feed just be like, hey, we're working on it. Smiley face, thumbs up. Like, I'm like, dude, you're
going into the comments of that.
Oh, dude, it's so bad. And like, I feel bad for devs because it's a lot of times it's the marketing guys who will like be in charge of that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you see the devs literally trying to put out fires, and you're just like, oh man, that sucks. That sucks. Deadlines and all that bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't envy them.
I thought I wanted to go into the gaming career when I was young.
Yeah.
I was like, it'd be so fun to like produce a game and that stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I saw there's a gaming company coming to Charleston.
Yes. So it's I don't remember it's like a 3-letter company. It's based out of Japan in '94. And they just acquired a studio that makes like a ton of games. Like they'd helped make Prey and a couple of other games, which is great. This seems to be more of like a support side. They're not going to be like making the games, but they're doing testing and they're doing sort of like customer facing side of things.
Yeah.
So that's going to be pretty cool. I'm trying to see if like they're not like putting out a ton of info about like when they're opening and who's doing what. But the first thing that we're trying to do as the lounge is like, hey, we want to help. Like, you guys want to do a launch party, or you want to do like cool community events, because that's part of their office task is like community-based stuff. I'm like, dude, we've got an infrastructure already set for people to come out, and no one's driving out to Daniel Island to go to an office building next to Blackbaud.
Yeah,
like go to a place that's got a bar, it's got a kitchen, it's got 20 PCs and a bunch of stuff that you can just have immediate just drop in access and go. Yeah. All it takes is to just download one PC, like download a game on one PC, push it to the rest, like within like a single button click, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that'd be. Because I know they're hiring for like game testers, but they have like a game they're working on. That'd be so cool to just be like, hey, come here, we have a little event.
Yep, 100%. I mean, that's the thing is that there's a lot of opportunity there. It really is. And Charleston's been trying to become the tech sort of bay for a long time, but they struggle with that mostly because of infrastructure. Like networking side of things, you're trying to take houses that are like 60 years old and try to give them high-speed internet, which is a struggle bus because you have to deal with pole rights because fucking South Carolina sold pole rights years ago. And then now, but you have a Google data center like 30 minutes north. Yeah. Which means, to have Google Fiber, you have to be 2 hours away from a data center. And there's so much opportunity to be able to have a really good contract. But I literally sat in with the economic development directors of Goose Creek, and they're just like, yeah, we don't see the need for that. I don't think Google's going to want it. I'm like, dude, stop, please.
Everyone wants fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had fiber dug for us. We have 2 ISPs. One's a DIA fiber line. Only we get that. Like, there's no other one that's being shared with anybody. But then we also have a second line that comes in. So we've now got over a gig and a half down, and then we almost have a gig up, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But now we've got it to the point where if any one of our neighbors ever moves in and they have like an office building or anything like that, they can basically tap into that and they can use it. So they'll have access to it.
Yeah.
Which is great, but most businesses just need like 10 for like POS systems, which, whatever.
It's not. I never heard like Charleston becoming like the tech thing because I knew Austin had it. I didn't think Charleston. I thought we were more. It seemed like more manufacturing hubs were also coming here, along with Boeing. What was it? Volkswagen,
BMW.
Yeah,
whatever. But tech or infrastructure or manufacturing typically leads to tech because usually the manufacturing creates the infrastructure for that. And so you'll see there's a couple plants outside of Austin, and then Austin then turns into a tech center because you're having those factories pop up and then they need the network for it.
Yeah.
But with Charleston, because you've got a lot of issues, especially with like as soon as you get to the peninsula, as soon as you dig 3 feet, you hit fucking old railroad track that's been buried for decades, or you hit water.
Yeah.
And no one wants to try to convince a tech company to go downtown. It's only going to be Mount Pleasant or Somerville at this point.
Yeah.
Just
Any
because of what's
places
there.
off the island, basically.
Oh, 100%.
There isn't also like many media things here besides like news. Like
Yeah.
that's one reason I'm trying to leave is because like I'm trying to get into podcasting, radio, or sports production.
Yeah.
The only things around here are like colleges. We don't really have any like major sports teams.
Right.
Or
Well, it's like a semi-pro football team that's coming here.
wait, interesting.
Yes. I got reached out to the vice president of that team about 6 months ago, and they're building out a semi-pro football league across the nation, and Charleston is going to have one. I don't know where the fuck they're going to play. I don't know it's probably going to be Daniel Island or somewhere like that. But they're going to be competing. It's kind of like how the XFL went through and died within a year. They're trying to do that here. But like you're 100% correct in terms of like media-wise, unless you're going to 98.1, which I used to the only reason I listened to 98.1 is because Bubba the Love Sponge was on from like 6 to 10. And I've been listening to Bubba since I was working construction crews.
Yeah.
Like I listened to him from 6 to 10 every time whenever I was doing truck driving, construction crews, or moonshining.
Yep.
Like those were the only three things, like the only 3 times I really listened to him. But it was like the most consistently funny thing to listen to.
Yeah.
And he learned off of Stern. Like he worked for Stern for years. So it was cool to have that, but radio is owned by 3 companies. It's kind of like real estate where it's like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard.
Yeah.
It's now just like Cox Communications and like 2 others, and they own
Cumulus
every radio.
Media.
Yep.
My teacher works for Cumulus. He's one of the DJs for The Wolf.
Oh, nice.
So, and I've gone into the station, like, I did radio production 1 and 2, and he was showing me, like, all that. I was doing, like, the radio stuff. I might possibly get an internship. I still have to talk to him.
Okay.
But I added, like, sports production to my repertoire just to have an easier way to get a job when I move anywhere.
Right.
Because, like, I can be a cameraman. If I get good at directing, I can direct. I just have no one to do news. Like, I'm fine with a TV studio, but I don't want to work on a, like, Gemstones or that, and I want to stay the fuck away from a film set that is too chaotic.
I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always just be that guy who pushes tunes between tracks. He's like, "Hey, it's Dave and the boys. Welcome to Charleston's Best Rock, 98 Rock. Here is Imagine Dragons." Boom.
Yeah.
Like there is a talent to, I don't remember what it's called. What it's called is basically when you have the track starts and you hear like it's like a 20 to 30 second intro, and then your dialogue ends, and as soon as your dialogue ends, the lyrics hit.
Yeah.
That's a true talent. Like there's
I think it's something to quip and be quick about, along with like introing that. I've seen it work. I know one of them up in Chicago. I watch. It's I think her name's like Maria on TikTok.
Okay.
And she does like the Thursday.
It's Rock 95 by Thursday. Yup. But we're not out at a bar. Nope. The best way to enjoy Thursday is on the app. Is by listening in your car. That too. We're gonna tell you what we think, depending on what you ordered a drink.
Where she has a drink and she cues up the music and everything. She's cool as shit.
Oh, Thursday.
Thirst.
In my imagined thing was like Thirst Trap. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's not going to work.
It's you're out driving, you're not at a bar on a Thursday, so here's a drink, and then she goes into the next song from that. She's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have your own mead, which is pretty awesome. Do you have have you ever done Jack Honey and lemonade before?
I have not.
Do you have lemonade with you right now or no?
Let me see.
If so, if not, it's all good. But I always try to see. You got blue curacao, you got some Sprite down there, you got all the bubblies you need.
I got Coke, I got a margarita mix. I don't think I have lemonade.
That's fine. That's all good. So, do you want to pop the mead or do you want to do the other recorder leg? Really, all depends on what your stomach's after.
Fuck it, let's do the mead.
Fuck yeah. All right. All right. Driving home with an open container. All right.
It's not illegal if you get caught.
No, it's exactly. That's what I had to tell myself when I was driving up to Myrtle Beach from Ravenel with like 40 bottles or 40 mason jars of moonshine. Oh my god, dude, it was crazy. So another part about Coastal is that I was the only, according to the admissions office, I was the only student who paid for a third of my tuition in cash. I would walk up. There's a comedian dude whose dad owned like a bar or something. He did some stuff and he paid for his tuition in cash and he went to a Christian school. And she's like, I don't know what to do with this, honey. He's like, well, in my history and in my experience, you should put it in the safe. He's like, we don't have a safe, honey. This is a Christian school. And he's like, well, just put it in the dean's office and lock the door. She's like, sweetie, this is a Christian college. We don't have locks on our doors. And it was at that moment I knew that I was going to rob my college.
That sounds like what's his name? He was a part of Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Larry the Cable Guy?
No, not Larry.
Bill?
No.
Ron?
Yes.
Ron White.
That sounds like a Ron White joke.
Yeah.
He's technically retired from comedy, but he only goes to the mothership now.
I mean, it's a good spot to go, dude.
Oh.
I mean, if you want to play around, you want to fuck around with new material and stuff, it's a great spot.
Yeah, I would love to go see Kill Tony live. Every episode Kill Tony that comes out, I usually watch. I think the most recent one is
He has sketch on
Yeah.
there. Yeah, dude.
I haven't seen that one yet.
What's up, brothers?
What's up, brother?
Oh.
I was up hanging out with Madison, Oopsie from the Discord server,
Yeah.
Brandon, and I think David also.
Okay.
We were up. We watched the Sonic movie, then we went to the Joint Air Base dive bar.
Yeah.
You say that to any Navy guy, they immediately love it. Because this one guy was so drunk. I just go up to him, we're talking a little bit. Then he's about to leave. I said, "What's up, brother?" He fully hits the, "What's up, brother?"
That's insane. That's like walking up to a guy with Down syndrome and giving the John Cena wave.
Oh. Loves it.
Oh, that's great.
It's so wild just seeing, I love people watching, and I'm glad Madison took me to that place because it was so fucking funny to see so many drunk, nukes.
Yeah.
Because, it's also, the nukes are insanely smart and not socially aware.
Yes.
So get that drunk, and it is such a fucking great combo.
Oh, 100%. So we're actually trying to get a shuttle run from the nuke school to the lounge. So they'll have a place they don't have to drunk drive while they fucking go and party and play video games.
Yeah.
Because for a while, you can't even have a vehicle on the nuke school base. You can't, for the first 6 months or the first year or so, you can't have it. Speaking of, super smart guys that have no social, awareness, I had left graduate school for a government contract to project manage 4 dudes who were just like that. So when I was in undergrad at Coastal, they had the computer science department or whatever. They had a little club that would hang out, and they would have speakers come and they would talk and stuff. And one of the guys was for the FBI. Mm-hmm. And these 4 dudes who I knew basically take the Big Bang Theory's character Raj, who just doesn't know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Multiply them by 4, and then it's those guys. And so they were working on this project, and the NDA expires in 2036, so I can't go into too much, but they were showing me what they were working on. And 2 months later, this guy from the FBI comes and does his talk, tries to recruit people for the FBI, whatever. And I was like, dude, you should tell him what you're working on. And they go, no. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'll literally dragged one of them over to the FBI guy. And it was like, hey, I want him to show you what he's working on. And eventually he pulls up his phone, shows him the schematics, shows him what he's doing, shows him a couple videos. And the FBI guy's like, oh, cool. Let me get your email address. Let me get your phone numbers and stuff. And I think nothing of it after that because, people blow smoke up your ass when they're trying to recruit you. A year and a half later, I'm in my office at West Virginia University, and I get a phone call from the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and I am shitting my pants. I don't know what fraud I've committed. I don't know what I've done, and I get a phone call, and it's some gentleman that worked with the guy who was doing the recruiting stuff, and he's like, hey, we've been trying to get in touch with the so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. They're not responding. Can you help me get in touch with them? And, of course, they're scared, and they don't want to fucking talk to these people. Yeah. They want to do a contract with them, a research contract with them. And I helped negotiate their contract. And so they wanted to work on this project, and they said it was going to take about, 8 months, 9 months. Mm-hmm. And they convinced, I was already, hating graduate school, hated the shit out of it, and I took the government contract. And I was basically project manager for these guys, and we got put up in, housed in, a nice apartment complex. All we would do is we would go to the office and work on the project. And I was basically their project manager who would just requisition materials, requisition data, do presentations for them, just because they couldn't socialize and they couldn't they didn't know how to do a couple of things, and I just helped them with basic just administrative stuff while they actually did the real work. Mm-hmm. And so we were done with that project at 8 months. I got it stretched to almost 12 months just to pull more data because we were just having a blast. Yeah, we would go in. We would fuck around and run tests, do optimizations, and then we would go home and we would get takeout and play video games all fucking night. Solid. It was 3 apartments that all they would do is, and I would take them to bars occasionally and just hang out and have fun with them. And then we would just play video games all fucking night. And I was like, dude, I don't want this fun to stop. This is great. Yeah. I don't want to go back to the real world. So we pushed it for much longer than we needed to. And then finally we had it go through and we had to finish it up and it was good. However, one little thing that they forgot to remember is that this was between administrations. So Obama Part 2, Obama Boogaloo, and then the first half of the Trump administration, they had a whole transition for the FBI. They go in, and the contract negotiation from the old administration, the new administration didn't realize what was in the contract. Mm-hmm. Just because, hey, we just assume it's a standard kind of deal. I had included in the initial contract that they kept the patent to the product produced. Ooh. So when they sent it to us, it was the FBI owns it, just like a university does. If you create something and you work in a university, the university owns that product, not you, which I think is pure theft. Yeah. So my theory is that they just assumed we signed and left. I had my buddy restructure the contract to where they owned the patent of it 4 ways equally. Yeah. I didn't have any touch in it because I was just helping them do their thing. Yeah. Didn't really know how it was going to go over. And they just signed it and went. And so I was like, okay, cool. So at the end of it, they're about to pay us out and they're then going to release everything and where they have to surrender everything. And I go, no, you don't. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, you don't. Did you read the contract that your former employers signed? And they go, it's a standard contract. No, read the contract. And they go in, they pull it up, and they look at it. And then they have to leave the meeting, go into another meeting, come back to us 30 minutes later, and say, hey, we have to talk about this. We'll talk to you in a few days. So we just played video games for 4 days. Yeah. We get a phone call, and we're like, hey, we need to figure this out. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to figure this out? Because there's 2 ways this goes. You give us a number that we like for the patent, or we go to IBM or whoever place or whoever country the next day that wants it. Yeah. And they go, okay. And I say, you get 1 chance. And so within that 4 days, those dudes don't have to work again for the rest of their fucking lives. And it was so fucking cool to do it. Now, they gave me a tiny kickback, and I'm like, okay, cool. They knew what I was there for. Yeah. I was there to help them out. They did all the work. They had all the brains. It was their idea.
You were the extrovert that adopted all the introverts.
Exactly. And it was fun, and they understood I was having fun with it, and they were having fun with it because of that. Mm-hmm. But they were very appreciative. They were very thankful, and I got a nice check out of it. help me buy my condo.
Yeah.
Cool. But it's just a fucking wild ride for like almost a year.
So you're on a government list now, is what I'm hearing.
I mean, I don't know. Fuck, dude. I got a business loan. I got a mortgage. I'm fine. That's all I need to know.
The government's just keeping tabs and just waiting because you're the one that got away.
Whenever I run for Congress, then I might have to worry about it. But until then, I think I'm gonna be okay.
I'll be a part of your media team. I got you.
Perfect. I need it. I'll need it. I still have my podcast out on the internet. I'm gonna have to delete that shit before I run for office.
I've had the thought of like running for mayor for Charleston just because it's $1,000 to register.
Yeah.
And I would love the idea. I've said multiple times I'm here. I would love the idea of someone just combing through my podcast to see all the dumb shit I say. And if they question me on the stand and be like, dude, thank you for listening to my podcast. I really appreciate it.
Right.
And be like, that's all a joke.
Mr. Barker, I see here in season 2, episode 3, you, and I quote, "There's nothing in the Bible about pegging," and I'm like, "Yep, yeah, that's true. I'm technically correct in that, am I not?"
Liam, you said in episode 20-something in Parking Lot Talks number 3, when Chase was talking about his Native American heritage, you chimed in and said, "Womp womp, scale issue." Would you like to say more on that?
Yep.
No. Womp womp.
Mr. Barker, is it true that you did? Do you truly believe that colorblind people should be shot? No, well, parody. It's parody, Your Honor.
Like that's why I love when things get taken out of context, or like when a comedian's joke is written down and said in like a monotone thing. Like, don't take anything I say on this podcast seriously. It's a comedy one. Half the times I'm saying like dumb shit just for laughs.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's the reason that comedians started requiring people to turn their cell phones off. And as soon as you flip it out, like you're getting kicked out immediately. Is because people were either stealing content and selling it or putting it on YouTube before it's ready.
Yeah.
Or reporters are being assholes and trying to like cancel people for a fucking joke. Yeah. Like, I get it. Now, listen, I'm not jerking off into a fucking plant in front of some interns, Louis. But, at least, if I'm going on stage, there is a social contract that is sort of signed between comedian and viewer.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, I'm going to say some stuff and it could be fucking ridiculous. But we're all under the fair assumption that this is a joke.
Yeah.
And that if you don't laugh at it, that's okay. But if you get pissed off at it, that's on you. Because you signed up for this and I signed up to be on stage.
Yeah.
So there's a fair kind of social contract about that. Now, if someone goes off and starts saying horrid shit, they're going to have a bit of blowback, obviously. Mm-hmm. But that's for society to sort of judge as a whole.
Yeah. I took a date to Wits End Comedy Club. Yeah. And she was there. She doesn't really know the comedy scene. She was a very, like, not uppity person, but none of my jokes would land, so she hasn't really met me enough to know my sense of humor, and it's dark and twisted and shit like that.
So she's boring.
Yes. So we were up there. She was going through, sitting and listening to some of the open mic nights. She was like, "I'm so happy there's like a big LGBT scene in there," because there is in Charleston.
Yeah.
Comedy. It was funny. She's like, "I hated that one guy that would just do crowd work and like picked her out, the owner of the club."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You're in the audience. You're sitting there like this the whole time. Of course, he's gonna like call you out." And it was Josh Bates. He has like multiple comedy specials. Okay. He's co-owner of Wits End Comedy Club. Hilarious guy, old vet, the fucking dark sense of humor, twisted. Love him.
Good.
But she was like, "Yeah, I hated that part." I'm like, "The owner doing
the headliner
crowd work, funny crowd work that." Like, he was saying, like, he pointed to another guy in the crowd that had, like, a hot date with him. He's like, "How the fuck did you get that? How much are you packing down there?" And he looks down.
Yep.
And it's, like, it's just comedy. Like, laugh, don't laugh, whatever. Just don't get mad,
right.
In my opinion. Like, it could be a bad joke. He could flop, but it's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, there was a buddy of mine who I thought was an amazing bit that he got booed at, and I don't know why. But it was like, he was talking about guys who finish early. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, listen, they try to sell you on every cure known to man. They'll sell you pills, they'll sell you creams, they'll sell you salves, they'll sell you a technique. It's like, none of that's going to work. The only cure for premature ejaculation is just get good at eating pussy.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. That's really all it is. Like, you think, what's going to be more appealing? Being able to really just do good, solid work.
Yeah.
Or you have to be like, hey, baby, give me 1 second. You start rubbing shit on yourself. No, that's not going to fucking, that's one's much more appealing than the other.
Yeah.
How do you think I got married? I'm just fucking.
I mean, you're either good at sex or good at bowling. I bowl a 300.
There you go. 100%. There you go. I mean, and there's one of the great things that I love about like comedy like that is that it allows you to find people that sort of latch onto that because we're millennials. We literally had a great thing going, and then a couple planes flew into some towers, and everything kind of sucked after that. Right?
Now we have to take off our shoes.
Right, and now it's like I have to get scanned in to go to a high school. I have to, pay bills.
Yeah.
No, that shit sucks. Everything sucks. But you get sort of everyone, like our entire culture is based off of like dark humor and memes.
Yeah.
And for those who don't get it, they're the ones missing out.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones who aren't enjoying in the fun of suffering.
Like
that's the great part about suffering is that you can have fun with it.
I make so many like death jokes at work to the point where like my boss was like, hey, we have a good like mental health plan at our job. I'm like, these are all complete jokes.
Yeah. This is
like,
how I cope. This is how I get through it.
It's like if I would go through with that, I'd make the front page. Like I already know. And he like again looks at me like I'm not going out at work.
No.
I don't want to be here. I like don't even want to die here.
No. There's so many better places to do it.
Oh yeah.
I want to do it with confetti.
Fireworks, like make this shit like front page news, traumatize some people. Like
Yep.
Pass
it down to the next generation. Be like, good.
I was making a joke with my buddy because I watch Unsubscribe podcast and they have The Offenders, and Brandon Herrera's offender thing is he can die, but he'll come back alive in the next day.
Yep.
And of course, Charleston traffic being Charleston traffic. I almost got hit like 3 times from me and my buddy going from the gym to food and back.
Yeah.
So I said, dude, if I get hit, I'm just going to like get out of my car, pull out the gun, and ruin someone else's day, and I'll wake up the next day. Yeah. He just like looks at me like, holy shit. He's gotten more used to it because... but
well, that for your friend group gets used to it quick because you all feed off of each other.
Yeah.
Like, I have friends that I've had since I was basically in high school, and most of it was over like Skype and Discord and stuff. And as an adult in my 30s now, I realize that I can't be in public with these people. These aren't people that you can go out and socialize with because then the rest of the world will know what kind of twisted fuck you are.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I have a buddy named AJ. I love him to death, but he's got some problems. He's got some issues. And, like normal people, a couple of us have tattoos, and he's got 3 tattoos. One of his favorite TV show, his favorite year, and his favorite movie. One is his favorite TV show is Supernatural, so he's got the tree from Supernatural. Looks really cool. He's a patriot, so he has 1776 tattooed on his fucking chest. But his favorite movie is also The Exorcist. So it's really weird to walk around with a guy at the pool. He's got a tattoo. It's like your mother sucks cocks in hell on his fucking ribcage. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, and he does all sort of wacky things, like pretend he's a veteran to pick up chicks, which is, I don't condone that. That's a felony, and you're a shitbag for doing it, buddy. But then my buddies and
Does it work is the question.
No, because we fuck with him. Because we ruin him. Because we're actual patriots, and we'll be like, hey, we will fuck with him. Like, he'll talk about, like, he'll try to get into a fight with somebody, like a bouncer. He's like, yeah, I'm a veteran. And we'll go, it's like, yeah, dude, you ever heard of the Battle of Verdun? He was there. But because our fucking society's so uneducated, you have to go all the way back to the fucking Revolutionary War before they freaking realize, like, wait a minute.
Just Battle Waterloo.
Waterloo, yeah. People, once they get to, like, Waterloo, then like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense.
Hold up. I saw that in a movie once. Yeah. Like, I know if some of my group chats got leaked, it's just the wildest shit. Like, one of my group chats is called, like, Muscle Mommy Farm, and it's 2 of my friends. And it started just because Cameron would just, I'm calling him out, would send me just TikToks or Instagrams of just muscle mommies. Because I said it like once because I love Karlak from Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Shoot me.
Yeah.
So it started from that, and then we made a Stardew Valley farm, and I was like, what name should I have? Oh yeah, Muscle Mommy Ranch.
Nice.
And then it just became for that.
There was a character that we had in D&D who was like super into muscle mommies, and there was like a barbarian like goddess that came down. She was absolutely yoked to shit, and it was just like Queen of Valhalla, sit on my face. Like, what are you doing, bud? We're trying to record this. We're trying to make people watch this.
Hey, that's a clip right there.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I know for my like D&D podcast, I had like multiple just dumbass clips of. One of them was my buddy Kyle was playing a goblin named Strungo, and he was like just woke up. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to piss off the side of the boat." It has some extra power to it, and he was just like pissing, and then he started fishing at the same time, and then pulled a fish.
Okay.
And to help him pull the fish, he pressurized his urine along with a alchemy jug of water to pull it up.
Okay.
I'm like.
Is that a constitution check?
I did dexterity and strength.
Dexterity? Okay, that'll work.
It's like, give me a dexterity for the pressure of it to begin with, and then strength to hold on to everything.
There you go.
But it was, like, I miss that D&D campaign, but I stopped it because my ex-wife was a part of it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have the IP and everything for it. I want to do something in the future with it if I have time.
Yeah.
But
100%. Our Rick and Morty D&D, I made so the entire Rick and Morty D&D is basically like a 30-room dungeon. Yep. It's very linear, but it's fun. But of course, as the DM, you can make up whatever the fuck you want and make it interesting. So for all of 2021, my Discord server was obsessed with these nuts jokes to the point where we were terrified that we were going to walk into something in the middle of a Discord conversation. So I made a room where my buddy, who's like responsible for this, I get him locked into a room with 3 werewolves. And of course, like the scientific term for werewolves are lichens. And so so he's stuck and he thinks he's going to get absolutely murdered. And the werewolves walk up to him and they pretend like they're trying to ascertain if he is a werewolf as well. So they go like, "Are you lichen?" And he goes, Yes, I am. I am lichen." And he's like, and then he has to roll a check to see if he can lie, and he fails. He fails 3 times, and each time the lichen's like, "Are you lichen?" And then finally he's about to get ripped to shreds, and then the werewolf goes, "Are you liking these nuts?" And the entire party just starts laughing, and the werewolves, of course, in the story are laughing, and it's a whole troll. And my buddy's like, "Is that in the fucking book?" I'm like, "No, I made that up, asshole.
Yeah.
It's this entire room. I made this entire room to fuck with you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's amazing." And that's the great thing about like D&D is that if you have a good group of people who you're having fun with, you can kind of like bounce off of each other's like sort of things, like whether it be your insecurities or like the inner jokes that you and your friends have.
Yeah,
that's what can make it fun. Like we actually have a D&D guy who's like almost like a pro DM who's going to start hosting D&D sessions at the lounge once or twice a month for people who are trying to get into it. And I'm like, that's going to be really fucking awesome to be able to have that whole section like sort of privatized off with walls, and people can just bring you mead and bring you beer while you're going on a quest.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be fucking insane. I love that.
I've seen like Green Dragon like have that in like those other tables. I was gonna say I have Magic stuff too. There's a big Magic community in Charleston.
Yeah, there is. There's a ton of card spots. Like I've been to Green Dragon. I went to Green Dragon when it was in North Charleston. I bought a couple of board games from the Green Dragon when we were building the lounge out, because that whole cabinet we wanted to fill with board games.
Yeah. And
if I'm gonna go and buy board games, I'd rather shop local and do the Green Dragon than Amazon or Walmart.
There's also Final Round up in Somerville. There's Synergy, and then Northwoods Mall is Animal House, and I usually go to Animal House.
Okay.
Like,
I don't have as much experience into Magic. Like I did a white build for like a really brief amount of time back when I was in high school. I did like an undead build for a little bit just to fuck with my buddies because they hated that, and then I just started playing like more traditional video games like Dark Souls and stuff after that.
I started like back in September to like, I never thought I'd play Magic. I was like, okay, it's going to be a money sink. It's going to be whatever. I don't know if I'll like it because I didn't like Pokemon. I like collecting the cards. I didn't like playing the game. So I got Magic the Gathering Arena, and me and my buddy started playing it. I'm like, fuck, I like it. And then I saw they had Universities Beyond of Assassin's Creed.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, it's Valhalla's thing, right?
Yes, I got around Valhalla time, but it's Celtic Knot, because this whole arm is going to be Celtic Knot themed.
Look at that. That's my ring right there.
That is badass.
Celtic Knot. Yeah.
So my plan for this arm for tattoos is like things I like, but in Celtic Knot form. So I'm going to get like Bulbasaur there. I'm going to get like a D20. And yeah, Brittany Lee over at Holy City did that along with all my other tattoos.
The owner of Holy City did mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I love how tattoos can tell a story. Like, I love that. So, I had lost my mom to leukemia when I was, like, 10 or 11. And when I grew up on Edisto, we didn't have cable. I didn't have cable until I was, like, 13. So, like, no SpongeBob or anything until I was, like, 13 years old, which is weird. But when I went to the hospital to get my tonsils taken out, my mom stayed with me in the hospital when I was like 6 or so, and we watched Superman cartoons and ate ice cream the next day. So when you're a kid, you lose a lot of like your core childhood memories, like when you're an adult.
Yeah.
But that was when I didn't want to lose. So I had this idea for this tattoo for like literally 12 years. And during COVID, right when COVID shutdown happened, I had to like go into the back room of Holy City because they were doing like technically private sessions to get stuff done. So, like, I ended up getting, this is the only tattoo I've got. I'll probably get another one eventually, but the camera, it's Superman's shield with my mom's initials in the S curve. And it just happens to be that her middle initial was Mahan, which is mom. So I have, like, a big little thing for my mom right here on my shoulder, and I'll have that. I've had that design since I was, like, 12 or 13. And so the owner of Holy City was super awesome about it. He had some, like, he immediately drew it up, had some really good ideas to, like, do, like, a nice gray and black and gray, which I love black and gray over color 90% of the time. I definitely passed out at, like, halfway through because it was just, I didn't feel like I was going to pass out, but it just started to creep up on me.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of, like, went out, and his wife, like, I think it was his wife, was super cool about it. She grabbed me some drink and stuff to hang out for a minute, let me go to the bathroom and just rest up. She's like, hey, happens all the time.
Yeah.
There are tough biker dudes who this happens to all the time, so don't hold it against yourself. I'm like, no, I mean, it crept up on me. I really didn't see what was going on, and I didn't feel anything bad about it. I was like, okay, cool. I hate needles anyway.
Yeah.
So
I hate needles, but I'm good with tattoos because I have that one. I have my rugby tattoo here. I have a shoulder piece that I want to sleeve out eventually. Then I have a frog, which is like the frog is the only color piece I have. It's like black and gray, and then green is the color.
Have you seen your frogs from the beach?
No. It was just like I got all the other tattoos to mean something. This one I was like, I like it, so I'm just gonna get it. And
oh, that's cool. Oh, that's Mr. Frog. That's like hippity hoppity get off my property kind of, like vibe right there. I like that.
So I like as I got older, I started like the sort of motif of skulls around foliage. Okay. Like even in death, like life still persists. Like that type of shit. I've always liked that idea, and I've gotten a whole bunch of paintings and stuff to incorporate that. I don't know why, I just like that design style.
There is a really nice art to that. Like you said, even in death, there is life. That is a really cool thing because, like I said, when we go in the ground, we're going to feed something.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to feed worms. I mean, that cycle of life goes on. You know, it's an interesting thing that people have to sort of, they don't have to, like, they don't have to think about, but it's something you have to accept at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that say death is not human's greatest enemy, but his oldest friend, because he meets you the moment you're born.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's what, like, I love philosophy and going into that, and I've always been into like stoicism and that type of philosophy.
You read Nietzsche?
I haven't yet. I've been reading Socrates, Marcus Aurelius, Plato. I have Republic by Plato that I'm working on right now. I sort of swapped it to the Conquest of Bread, which is a anarchist, communist Russian prince, because I'm like, this looks interesting. Let me read it. Okay. Because I'm
sure. I mean, just don't drink when you're reading Nietzsche because you'll get depressed as fuck. Oh. He is dark, but at the same time, I read Nietzsche and then immediately switched to Solzhenitsyn, who wrote the Gulag Archipelago, and dude, that is 1,800 pages of absolute insanity. It ripped. That book once it got smuggled out of Russia, ripped the entire Red Curtain down.
Yeah.
Because everyone kind of realized, like, oh, this is the reality of what Russia is like right now. Because no one really knew. They had heard whispers of people who had defected and left.
Yeah.
But they really didn't understand the Gulag system and how, like, you're constantly, not necessarily on a social credit score, but, like, anything you say and do can and will be reported.
Yeah.
And the government will have tabs on you. And they will take you in an instant.
Yeah.
And put you into some little system of
Re-education camps.
some frozen hellish prison in Siberia. Like, they did it to one of the reasons, like, that whole system caused, like, 10 million Ukrainians to starve to death because they took all the good farmers and turned the rest of the village against them, shipped them off into a fucking prison camp because, like, hey, you're doing better than us, so we're gonna put you in jail.
Yeah.
And then, since all the good farmers were gone, they had no fucking food. So within one winter, 10 million people die.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's wild when you look through history and just see, like, consequences, actions, because you see it over, like, a bigger scope of time than what they realized during that time.
Oh, yeah.
Which always makes me think of, like, what was the domino effect from, like, when I was growing up to, like, now.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was born in, like, 98.
Yeah.
So I was young around, like, 2001. Patriot Act came in. But
Yeah.
I can still see, like, the small little domino effect of how that happened and what people did because of that, how it leads now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and here's the thing is that you can think of, like, a lot of people at that age, in my age as well, think of, like, 9/11. But that's not the first domino. Like, because you had the idea of, like, back in the 70s, we supplied shit tons of weaponry and military to the Afghanistan people because the Russians invaded.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, the Russians thought that they were going to just stroll through and just take over all these cattle farmers and goat herders and shit. And all of a sudden, they've got anti-aircraft weaponry with the U.S. flag on them. And there are nightmare stories that these Russians were telling about how in the middle of the night in the mountains of Afghanistan, they're getting just destroyed by these guys who have lived there their entire time. But also, that doesn't mean that it was a blowout. Like, the Afghan people were devastated. Like, the average age of the Afghan person after that conflict was like 14. So you had all of that. You had all of those people who were dealing with that shit, traumatized at that young of age. Why the fuck do you think they hate the West all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Because they grew up with no parent. They were like the oldest people. They had to completely rebuild their entire economic structure from 14. And then all of a sudden some billionaire comes along called Osama bin Laden, who then uses a ton of his money and influence to create a coalition against the thing that they thought killed your parents. Yeah.
Wasn't he also trained by the CIA too?
He was supplied things. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on the subject, but I know that he was supplied things during that time by the U.S. military and the CIA.
Because I know there was a tie that we funded the enemy, then that enemy became our enemy.
100%.
And then Osama was a CSGO player. when we raided...
He had a ton of, like, porn and stuff as well. I think he had hentai. I think he had a bunch of hentai.
He was a true Discord gamer.
Yep. Osama has left the chat.
His hot mic was not a thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was wild to find out. It was 2008 when we got him, right? Around that time?
With beautiful dogs. No, wait, that was...
No, that was
Alani,
I think, maybe?
Yeah, Salami. Salami, that's what it was. Salami. I don't know why they hate us. I don't know why.
I don't know. Allegedly, no clue. We're just America trying to give freedom to everyone, whether they like it or not.
Fuck yeah!
Do I smell oil? Oh my god! It's even. Have you played the new Black Ops?
Teeny bit.
Dude, the campaign is so good. Like,
I've heard good things. Yeah.
It's a breath of fresh air from, like, the old campaigns, because this is more like an RPG element.
Yeah.
Where you can go into, like, you have this area and you have multiple ways to complete the task.
Right.
Like, there's this one spy mission, is like you have multiple entrances to go in. Hey, there's these multiple different ways to reach it. Where I'm like, that's pretty interesting. I hope they continue with it, because the campaigns have been shit.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been linear. Like, it was always, like, even in, like, Call of Duty 2, when it was my first one, it was linear. It felt massive, because you had massive battlefields from World War II and stuff, from storming the beaches of Normandy to the giant fields in France and stuff, which it didn't feel as linear, but like even in Modern Warfare 2, it felt action packed, but it was obviously linear. Go to this objective, defend the Burger Town, like that kind of shit.
They
Like, you
had
that.
big set pieces that made it feel bigger and more going on than how they've been lately. Because like Burger Town, there's explosions going on, there's waves coming up, even World War II, explosions, different waves of people. And like the other Call of Duties have just been, go here, there isn't much going on, shoot these bad guys. Like it hasn't, they had more of a cinematic feel in the past games than they have lately, which I think goes back to like the lack of ingenuity with modern video games.
I mean, even in the Call of Duty 2, like when you storm Normandy, it basically it's a not one for one shot, but it's a very similar shot from Saving Private Ryan when they storm Normandy. You have that slow motion, you have the mortars dropping, you have the machine gun fire, you see guys like carrying their own limbs, people on fire and shit. Like you had that, and you felt like 13-year-old me was like, what the fuck is this?
You hear like the audio cue of like an explosion going back and the tinnitus, like all that. And then Medal of Honor was a really good like series of games.
They need to come back, dude. Now's the time.
Yeah, they had that like modern Afghanistan one, which I liked a lot.
Yeah.
Because, like, I grew up with the World War II ones, where it was, like, storming the beach of Normandy. They had the Rising Sun, which was more of the Pacific Theater-based one. And then, I forget what else after that. Then they had, like, the modern, like, Afghanistan one, which was really cool. Yeah. And then there's nothing after that.
No, it's unfortunate. It really is.
Yo, I gotta go take a piss.
Are there any DJs in the crowd? I gotta go take a piss.
You see, here's the massive mistake that he's left. He's decided that he's going to keep recording while I'm here by myself, and I can just talk massive shit. No, actually, to be honest, this is a pretty awesome studio. Like, the brick with the sign is actually very classy. It's pure class. You can see, like, you see it in that corner right there. It looks really nice, but you've got, like, it's a true man cave in here. You got fishing rods, you got PSA stuff, you've got bows. The bows are actually pretty nice. My brother's a bow hunter, and I need to show him that, like, that one bow right there is fucking cool. Oh, yeah. No, this is definitely one of my favorite setups for like a podcast studio. It's very nice looking. Very clean. Like, to have a bar, but he's got a fucking setup under here. Like, he's got wine. We've got mixers, we got curacao, he's got ginger beer, he's got Irish liqueur, vodka, little keg. Very nice. I just also recently just realized you have the Macho Man Randy Savage stunner shades.
Yeah. I had my buddy Andy on, and last time I didn't have video, but he kept swapping like sunglasses.
Oh,
so I had like 3 sunglasses I would swap from. So I usually try to fill like the back of this with things from guests.
Yeah.
Like my buddy Bryce is an artist, makes stickers. He gave me that for that. My friend Bailey and Russell, they have alcohol themed candles.
Oh.
Yeah, they're a local business around here, so I got a lot of those. My coworker Brad has a studio where he does clay and like wood type stuff.
Nice.
So he made this coaster, turned it down on a lathe, and made the ornaments out of clay.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
My buddy Campbell asked me to be his groomsman with that.
Nice.
I also tried to get like local liquors, like Charleston Distilling, vodka, Hilton Head rum.
Yeah, there's the Striped Pig Distillery that my buddy Chris knows the owner of. She's really cool. Sissy, I think's her name. But that's a good company as well. They just bought Ghost Monkey Brewery out in Mount Pleasant.
Shit!
They just bought Ghost Monkey out, so we'll see how that goes.
And Firefly also.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Firefly is a good classic. That's the thing. So there was a dude who came in. I saw the shades, and I had a memory that unlocked there. There was a guy who came in the other day. He came in with his own fighting sticks because he does fighting game stuff. He has a Macho Man Randy Savage themed fight stick. So it's got a bunch of poses of Randy. And it's just like every time that I see it's talk about entertainment. Like, I've never watched too much professional wrestling in my life, but the impact in terms of American culture that's had, and from anywhere from like The Undertaker to Hulk Hogan to Andre the Giant, even to Randy, where like everyone has their own Macho Man. Randy. It's like, oh yeah. No pukesters to my left. No pukesters to my right. No pukesters behind me. The cream will always rise to the top. Oh yeah, like that.
It's wild, like how even if you don't, like you said, you don't watch wrestling, but everyone knows of it. Everyone knows like the Stone Cold Stunner. Like everyone like knows you bust two beers open and chug it, which is wild that Stone Cold now is on a farm raising cats and everything.
Cats, yeah. It's like Poncho. Is that a Poncho here? It's like a little cat running up his shoulder. But you have like it bleeds into the rest of American culture where it's like even on the Pat McAfee show when it's like he threw 1 interception. What? 2 interceptions. What? 3 interceptions. Like stuff like that. That's you could see like Vince McMahon, as flawed of a character as he is, built this empire that bled across the entire world, and now that entire culture has made its way into not just American culture, but international culture.
Yeah. Or give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Yes.
Like,
You talking to the Rolex? Yeah. Wearing, yeah. Diamond ring wearing. Woo. Kiss stealing. Woo. Wheeler dealing. Limousine riding. Yeah. And I want a long time. Woo. Now give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
It's like along with meme culture, like that was the original like meme culture, and it's stuck and it's everything. Like nowadays, even if you look up to someone who's gone on the internet, you're like, do you know Dewey? Everyone knows exactly the meme you were talking about.
Exactly.
It's sort of the only like water cooler thing left in America, because like back in the day with Lost and everything, everyone would come and it'd be like the social center points. Like I think the last one I can think of is really Endgame, where like that's where everyone was talking about.
Yeah, I mean for movies and stuff, I can see that. For me, the first time that I really experienced like the water cooler thing was like when I was in 5th grade and Red vs. Blue was taken off. Like, Dave, did you see the new episode of Red vs. Blue? Yada yada, and they would all talk about it.
Have you caught up with Bernie? Like, do you know what he's doing now?
No, dude. I saw him play a round of Halo with Jeff and Matt, and then they signed off.
Let me go grab something, because he started a podcast again.
Oh, God. Here we go. So for those of you keeping score at home, Red vs. Blue is an animation / machinima of the Halo series. And the Halo series, of course, is a great video game series, but it was founded by a company called Rooster Teeth, and Rooster Teeth used to be one of the greatest YouTube channels on the planet, making incredible content, such as the Let's Play and Achievement Hunter group, obviously the Red vs. Blue series, and then Ruby, very well-acclaimed anime. But after some poor financial decisions, a couple of internal strife, that company went into the fucking ground and sold off. I think they finally closed up shop in April of 2024, unfortunately. What is this?
So
Is that a cat?
Bernie and Ashley started a
Morning Somewhere
podcast where they talk for like 20 minutes, and I joined their Patreon when they first started it up, and
ooh, look at that!
They did a challenge coin, of their cat and Morning Somewhere for the original like founders.
Yeah.
So
I know Jeff and Gavin were doing a podcast with Andrew. I can't remember his last name, but they were doing they were called Fuckface. Fuckface podcast, which a couple clips were funny. But the magic kind of, for me, unfortunately, with like Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter, the magic kind of died after the whole deal with Ryan came out.
Yeah.
He was like my favorite character. And well, it started kind of when Ray left. And Ray's had a great YouTube career and a great Twitch career. Love him to death. Great content creator. I subbed to his Twitch for years.
Yeah.
And then that whole scandal with Ryan came out, and because all at the same time, almost the exact same day, Adam from Funhouse, which was a part of Rooster Teeth technically, also happened, and I had followed those guys since IGN days.
Yeah.
So it was like a double punch in the gut. It took me days to like sort of like emotionally recover from that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm fans of a horrible human being. I'm a fan of a horrible human being, and to like move on and be like, okay, I have to make a clean break. I didn't know who this person was. This person turned out to be a huge piece of shit. Got to make that clean break.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough sometimes. Your heroes are monsters.
Yeah. It was wild seeing like the original founders, because I loved the Rooster Teeth podcast, and like when Bernie left, I was like, God.
Yeah.
They went off grid. Like they're in Scotland now. They moved to Scotland.
Whoa.
Him and Ashley have, I think, 2 more kids. I was listening to Morning Somewhere, and he had Teddy on. And Teddy's like in college now, which is
insane.
It's wild, because like you hear about Teddy and he being young and everything, then Teddy's fully fucking grown up.
Yeah.
Then there was also controversy for Rooster Teeth. They kicked Joel out.
Joel had made some tweets and stuff, made some threatening comments about some politicians and stuff, which obviously that's not good. And I think at the time they were trying to do a deal with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And that ended up not being a good fit.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Jeff stayed around for as long as he did, which is great, because Jeff was so funny in Achievement Hunter. Like, he had a really great group of guys with Gavin and Michael and Ray and all those guys, Jack as well. Then they had another, like, LeVar Burton's daughter made some really crazy tweets about shit that was going on. And, like, you know, you can't speak for someone's perspective, but it was just, definitely wasn't good.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't good.
I think where they sealed their fate was like when they tried to become like, I get where they were trying to become like a giant producer of it, because
RT Plus.
Yeah, because Good Mythical Morning did it. They bought Smosh. They became like a bigger one.
Yeah.
Rooster Teeth was trying to do the same thing, where they brought in Cow Chop, Creatures,
Funhouse, all those guys. Yeah.
I think Penny Arcade also
Had a whole network.
Yeah. Which I think they still have the network. They own that. AT&T didn't sell that off because they were bought by AT&T, and they were just losing money after COVID, so they shut it down.
Yeah. Which
I was hoping to like eventually go to RTX in the future, like go down to Austin.
I did too. I was really hoping to be able to afford that.
Yeah.
I have a T-shirt signed by Monty and Caleb.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That. God, I remember when like the announcement that Monty died. Like, I never watched Ruby. I was never really into that, but I was impressed by like the fight choreography he did on Red vs. Blue and Ruby. Even like how he made like the world of Ruby. He just put condiments on a napkin. It was like, we're going off of this.
Yeah.
And
insanely talented.
Yeah. Even like just growing up, like I never really watched TV. I was just watching YouTube, and that's sort of what developed me wanting to do stuff like this, because I always loved content creation. I did like streaming for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not good unless I can bounce off someone.
Yeah.
So I hit like affiliate on Twitch, and then was streaming for a little bit, but I wasn't getting any like retention or audience. So I was like, I can't make clips out of this. I can't do anything. So
it's hard to do as a solo. Like, it's so. I think what has really bled. There's only a few YouTubers that can really bleed out a huge solo career. Like you've got Captain Sparkles, who's been doing it forever. Like you have PewDiePie as well. But you also like you think of like CNanners, right? One of the greatest YouTubers of all time, like the OG.
Yeah.
Like he had Sark, he had Max, he had all of these guys that he was able to bounce off of in that comedy, and they had their own YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And they fed off of their own success. Like they were able to sort of self-promote each other.
Yeah.
In a really cool way. You had that with
5 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Max was Gassy Mexican, which was a part of the Creatures.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, Gassy's hilarious. Then you have he also had a really good voice, like a really nice, deep, strong voice, which was great. Then you have like people nowadays like Smitty and Grizzy and Puffer and all these guys who do a bunch of content together, and they feed off each other.
Yeah.
Now you'll always probably have a guy who's got the most video, like the most views,
like Vanos compared to all the other people.
Exactly, like with Nogla and who's the other Irish guy? Terrorizer, exactly. Those guys, they feed off of each other, and they understand who the big guy is. Obviously, you see it who's in the description, you see in the thumbnail, obviously, and they build off of that. But it's an understanding of friendship and collaboration where, like, when Vanos does a solo video, he doesn't get as many views.
Yeah.
But when he's able to bounce off of the comedy of all of his friends, that's what really makes it great. And I think I think that if that Discord server started, like, doing, like, a stream series where they were actually streaming Twitch, it'd be so fucking funny. And you have that, like you said, you have those people to bounce off that you gel with.
Yeah.
And you can sort of have that kind of comedy set or that collaborative set. It can work really, really well.
Which we have some like people who have already become started in the Discord server. There's that one D&D guy that always posts his episodes. There's that girl that just joined last week that does Twitch, TikTok, and Fortnite stuff.
Yeah,
she was talking today.
She's got the it's her image. She's got like her profile picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, even I think it's like DJ6X9 also streams a lot. There's a lot of people that does stuff in there, and there's been a lot of not niches, but like you see like who hangs out with who.
Right, there's little subgroups, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing is like I loved streaming. I did some streaming back in the day when we did the Reforged account during COVID. We hit affiliate pretty quick. It's just like I would love to stream. I would love to play video games right now, but I have no fucking time. Like, I remember the other day there was, like, these 3 or 4 kids that were playing Fortnite, and, like, what are you playing right now? They asked me that, and I had to think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, no, what am I playing right now? I'm like, I played Satisfactory back in August. When it hit 1.0, I played a little bit of, like, Diablo 2 Resurrected with my buddies back in June. What am I playing right now? And I just had to literally make something up because I haven't played, like, sat down to play, like, a serious gaming session in probably 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this sucks. I hate that. Like, that sucks. I hated that. But I want to be able to, like, hopefully as we build out, like we kind of talked about earlier, being able to, like, actually go back to playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get to see people play video games all night last night.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to play shit. It was like, it's a blessing and a curse, where it's like, I get to build something all about video games. I don't have fucking time to play video games.
Yeah. I saw you, like, walk around, like, chatting to everyone. Like, you're always... Like, I love that way. Even when I went to, like, restaurants, you see the owner come out, talk to people. Like, it adds, like, a sense of, like, community to it. Where, like, like, you know the owner, you talk to him multiple times. He isn't just, like, a figurehead that isn't known.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's what I really love. I used to be super, like, not social back when I was, like, in high school. And then during college, it just blew up, like, for my ability to talk to people. And then as I started talking to people who came into the business, all I wanted to do was just, like, first off, tell them how much I appreciate them coming out. Mm-hmm. Like, when you guys came out on the 13th, I almost had a fucking breakdown because I was, like, so happy that people were, like, coming out having fun and, like, doing a get-together. But then also, Oopsie brought me a fucking birthday cake.
Yeah.
I literally, as she told me she was bringing a birthday cake, I almost teared up. Like, I was so it was like it was so fun. It was so weird for me to, like, feel that. And so it's always like it comes off in a level of appreciation first because like without people coming in, I don't have a job. I don't have a paycheck without them. And so when I get to see someone enjoying something I've created, that creates that automatic level of fulfillment. And all I want to do is be like, how can I give you more? Like, what games are you playing right now? What are you enjoying? Like, what is it that I can make this a little bit better? And whether it's someone's like, hey, it would be really cool to do a Fortnite tournament. Like, sure, let's whip up a Fortnite tournament in a few weeks. Like, oh, there's a guy who wants to do a Smash tournament. I'm like, cool, I don't know anything about fighting game tournaments. I know that for a fact. So I'm going to let TOs come in and run their stuff there. We'll do a little bit of like a venue fee or whatever, but that's like easy access to get in. You have all the infrastructure and the network you need. Make it super easy. But also I like doing stuff where like if someone comes in for the first time and like a parent comes in and they have their 2 or 3 kids that play a ton, they have fun, and they're just sitting at the bar, I'll be like, hey, did you ever get to try like the Recorder League, or did you ever get to try the meat? And they're like, no, I never got around to do it, but I'll probably end up doing it next time. And I'll be like, cool, let me grab a business card real quick. I grab a business card. I write down like, hey, 1 free cider or 1 free mead tasting on me, and I sign my name. I sign my name to it, and I give it to him. It's like, hey, next time you come here, here's a card for a free mead. Or like with like a guy when his girlfriend comes out, hey, did you guys get to try the ice cream? Oh, next time, here, try the ice cream. Yeah. Here, I'll give you a card for like a free ice cream.
Small little things.
Just a little thing, not only to get people to come back, but to make people feel like, hey, I really appreciate you coming out, and I want to be able to sort of build off that, because I know that there are gaming communities all over Charleston. Yeah. I never came into the thing saying like, hey, there is no community. Yeah. I'm going to build it from the ground up. I know that that's not the case. What I love is that there are communities all over, but a lot of communities don't have like a brick and mortar for like being able to do fun shit. Yeah. And I'm just like, hey, we're just a place that you could sort of we can not necessarily just create a coalition of those communities, but people can just come and discover their own communities, where it's like, hey, we're the hub for these little communities to come off and do like IRL shit, or do like these little fun tournaments or fun community events, just to be able to like connect. Because I think online socialization is fun. Yeah. But to me, it's the Diet Coke of socialization.
Yeah, it's better to be in person. Like, even I've said multiple times, like, D&D over Discord is fun. It's good. But, like, being at a table with someone to, like, see their facial cues and play off of them like that, so much better.
Oh, 100%.
Even, like, when I'm playing games, I can always look down and see, like, Oopsie and Brandon, and my infamous thing is I love that game.
Yeah.
So, I'll look at Brandon and like we make eye contact. I'd go like that, see if I get him or not.
Right. I mean, even like when I was like playing, like a few weeks ago, I was playing. What was it? What's that crazy zombie game? They have 1 and 2. They're about to come out with 3. Not Helldivers. It's
zombie game.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
It's got whatever it was a zombie game.
Killing Floor?
Killing Floor. That's what it was.
Okay.
Thank you. So I was playing Killing Floor 1 with Noel. Mm-hmm. And Noel is hilarious. I love playing video games with Noel. And but when like, and it's cool to talk to somebody on Discord and stuff, but as soon as like I saw Noel in person for the first time, recognized their voice immediately. Yeah. And then I just like see Noel and immediately big bear hug. Yeah. I'm like, oh nice, it's cool to see you, man. It was great. Like that's what sort of like digital socialization kind of misses. Mm-hmm. It misses its mark. Like I get some people are limited to that. Yeah. But with Diet Coke, like I mentioned before, like the aspartame makes you crave the real sugar. And I think that digital socialization makes you crave the real thing.
Yeah. There's also with like the gaming Discord, a lot of gamers are introverted, so it's hard for them to step out of their shell. Yeah. And with it going to like a gaming lounge, like you already have like a big here's a common interest, because that's like whenever you're socializing with someone, you try to find the common interest as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. That's why like if you're wearing a T-shirt or something, like this is a big one that if people see that they're like, oh, let me talk to you about Assassin's Creed or like any T-shirt or whatever I'm wearing. It's just the moment you find common ground is the easiest way to like click with someone.
Oh yeah, I mean especially, and then you introduce a little bit of alcohol as well, the social lubricant of all civilizations. 100%. I mean
that's why a bar podcast is perfect, because like first 30 minutes everyone's getting used to it, then like an hour in you see like
deep diving.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's the great dude. That one guy was buying rounds of shots for everybody.
Yeah,
Striker.
The Boeing guy.
Yeah, dude. That dude is like I had talked to him earlier. He's like, I got to take a break from drinking for a minute. I'm like, good idea. Like yeah. I get it. But I
was making Boeing jokes at him, and it was like I had to like preference it. I'm like, this is all jokes.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, but like the lead part of like being Boeing is like we're working on getting better. Like I was like, hey, it's just no one has died in a couple months, eh?
Yeah. No, I mean, I get where he's at.
I do too.
I too worked for a massive corporation where it's like if I talk any shit and that gets out, I'm done.
Yeah, but I'm also a shithead. Like I will shit talk. I even I roasted Brandon about his ketchup thing in the Discord to the point where he changed his name. Like, you have to feed into this. Go with the joke.
Oh, he turned into what is his new name now?
Something Hines. Brandon and Hines.
Okay. I thought it was Let's Go Brandon something. Someone did that, I think. It was weird. What is it? Because as soon as I see that was such a great video where it's like everyone knows what they're chanting and then the announcer's trying to like be professional.
Yeah.
Be positive. It's like because a guy named Brandon won the NASCAR race.
Yeah.
And they're like, look at everyone cheering, "Let's go Brandon!" Then immediately became a meme.
Yeah.
Immediately, overnight, immediate. But that's once again, that's a great thing about our culture is that we can literally make fun of political unrest.
Yeah. We saw with Luigi Mangione.
Oh God.
Dude, that video, I think I showed you it, the 3-minute clip of my buddy Andy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that got 2,000 views on TikTok.
Which is great, dude. Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that people have to understand about our society is that if you think that this culture and our civilization is going to become healthier, smarter, and more adept at problem solving, you're on fucking crack.
Yeah, it is gallows humor. That is all.
100%.
Like, we've just been raised, and it is all gallows humor nowadays.
First time.
Well, that's the thing, is that the gallows humor is nice, and it's incredibly fulfilling because it gets you that, like, haha, good stuff. But the likelihood of the blade actually dropping is actually quite slim.
Yeah.
Because the shit's been going on for a lot longer than we have, and the likelihood of us outliving that is very, very slim. And what I've realized in terms of like our age range, if you work moderately hard, you're gonna outwork 90% of people.
Yeah.
Like if you hustle, holy shit, are you gonna be miles ahead of people?
I can come into work with like 4 hours of sleep, being hungover, and still get like 100% productivity in the thing.
System.
Yeah, because like it's not, my job is not hard.
Yeah.
At least to me, but I've always been like a hands-on learner.
Yeah.
So you show me something, I fuck up like 2 or 3 times, I figure it out. Like, that's how I've always learned, and I'm also like, I don't want to go ask how to fix something. I want to try to fix it myself so I know how to do it.
And I'm guessing that's how you were raised.
Yes.
It's like for the 3 minutes that I talked to your dad, I could see that right then and there. Like, okay, I get this. Like, my dad was born in 1950. I was raised by a boomer who grew up in dirt West Virginia.
Yep.
And so he's like, hey, by the time that I remember vividly when I turned 16 or 15, I had set myself up for a job working at an ice cream parlor in the summer. How great is that? Air conditioning, working around sugar, working around like cold shit in the South, right? And then you just get to hang out for the most of the day, and then people come and you give them a fucking ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Simplest ever. I tell my dad, and my dad goes, no, you're not working at an ice cream parlor. You're going to come in and you're going to work in a construction crew.
Yeah.
And I go, what do you mean? He's like, I'm going to set you up working for this construction crew. You're going to show up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 days a week, and you're going to work until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you're going to work in the middle of this fucking southern heat, digging ditches and doing irrigation and landscaping. And you're going to understand that working sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, working sucks, and you're going to have to understand that. And I'm like, okay. And sure enough, after like 10 years of hating him for doing that, because it put me on a scale, like on a path to be like, I'm going to work hard labor for a long time. But at the same time, then I went into the corporate world. And then like after like 2 months of being there, my numbers are significantly higher than everyone else's, just because I'm doing more units of work. My UOW was off the charts.
Yeah.
And they're like, how are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just fucking working, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is. I'm just cranking stuff out. Something comes up, handle it. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then they just didn't understand it.
I get bored and I get antsy to find like stuff to do. So
Yeah.
that's why, like, even in the factory now, I can run the laser, the water jet, the CNC lathe, the brake press. I can weld a little bit, all the machine room. I solder. Like, I got bored and ran out of work, so I kept getting moved to other places.
Right. And it's not just bored. It's like, if I'm not doing something, something's wrong. Like, I don't want to have somebody tell me that I'm not getting shit done. So I'm just going to keep getting shit done. But I found out eventually, like, if I just, like, because I was working full remote for this company, I just did, like, an absolute shit ton of work at the first half, and then I could just fuck off for the rest of the half.
Yeah.
And my numbers would still be better than 90% of everyone else's. And they're like, okay, just keep doing it. My boss was cool enough to be like, just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're padding my stats, so you just keep padding your stats, and you're good to go. And I'm like, great. But at the same time, like, I had to work for that company, build a business, and plan a wedding.
Yeah.
And it all sucked. And I didn't plan. Definitely didn't plan on building a business and getting married at the same time. Don't recommend it to anybody, by the way, because that's a lot of fucking work you got to deal with. Because I had proposed to my wife in November of 2023, and she's like, okay, I want to get married by November 2024. I go, sure, honey, let's make it happen. We can make that happen.
Yep.
Paying for the wedding later and doing all that crap, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. But then at the same time, 3 months later, we get the business loan, and they're like, great, we're going to be launching in August. And I'm like, okay, it's cutting it kind of close, but, you know, I'll make it happen. And then, sure, we get delayed again because a couple of things. And I get married November 9th, and our grand opening is November 16th. I didn't get to go to the gym for, like, almost a month and a half because I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
I had to go from like picking out stuff for the wedding to then going to like doing stuff for the business, going for insurance, going through insurance for other stuff. Oh my God, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like everyone around me is like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you making this happen? I'm like, I don't know, just fucking wake up and
If
work.
you don't think about it, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Like the moment you think about it, it's just like the Looney Tunes method. You can run forever. The moment you look down is when you're
Yeah.
off a cliff.
100%. Like, and when I ask myself how tired am I, that's when I get tired.
Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday when we were absolutely slammed, when I stopped working and took an actual, like I actually went, I realized how much my feet hurt,
Yeah.
how tired I was. And I was like, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going, and then you'll eventually make it through the night. And I think that, like I said, if people are able to realize like that's all you have to do is just work and just keep moving.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Just keep going. You're gonna outpace everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, is it gonna suck now? Yeah. Is it gonna suck tomorrow? Yeah. Is it gonna suck 3 years from now? Probably.
Yeah.
But the amount, it's just like moving weight, right? If it sucks right now at 135, and if it's gonna suck now, wait till like 2 years down the road when you're at 225, and you're hitting the two plates that most people aspire to, right? Everyone aspires to bench 225 because it's the
Baseline.
It's the baseline of like you're doing great.
Yeah.
That like if it sucks now and you make it suck to then, you've still gone from there to there.
To
in a
quote
huge map.
Pac-Man from Secret Level, strength and repetition.
Yeah.
I caught up on all of Secret Level and
watch
Creature
it.
Commandos.
Dude, okay, so I need to watch. So I haven't watched the newest one that came out Thursday. Holy fuck, do I love G.I. Robot and Bride.
Yeah.
Bride's a badass. Tough as fucking nails. Her origin story is great. And then every scene with G.I. Robot fills me with joy.
Yeah.
It's like that song when he's like going
Coin
ballistic.
Operated Boy. Yeah.
Coin Operated Boy. And it's like the
it's-
smile on his face.
it's-
slaughtering people. It's
It's James Gunn with music. Like that's already set. Like even like how he says how he makes movies is he makes the playlist first and then writes a movie from that.
So Superman's going to be score-based instead of track-based, which I'm very happy with. So obviously, I think honestly, if James Gunn does well with the DC universe, he is going to go down as the top 3 action superhero genre directors of all time. You've got Nolan up there. You're going to have James Gunn up there. I can put Snyder up there in my top 3 to top 5 because if I include also 300, and I do like the Snyderverse. I was a Snyderverse guy, but I also accepted the fact that we have to move on because it's over.
Yeah.
I cannot, no matter how much I tweet, we're not going to bring back it. I get that.
Yeah.
Accept it. And then if James Gunn can get me to fall in love with a fucking raccoon, a tree, Chris Pratt playing Chris Pratt, a green woman, and an orc, basically, then he can get me to fall in love with a character I already love.
Yeah, he takes a franchise that no one has ever heard of and makes them like A-tier Marvel now. Like,
Oh, yeah.
That's where like most of it, like Captain America was A-tier, Spider-Man A-tier, but like no one really heard of Iron Man in the comics until like he
Yeah.
got popular with the movies.
RDJ, yeah.
Yeah.
RDJ was a great cast for that. But like with James Gunn, dude, he, like you said, he does that score very, very well. Like I didn't give a shit about Guardians of the Galaxy until I went to the theater, and I didn't want to go to the theater. My buddy was like, dude, just go, wait 5 minutes. If you're not in love with the first 5 minutes, then leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine. So it's like Star-Lord with the mask, and all of a sudden you hear the track Hooked on a Feeling, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, let me go. And then the teaser trailer and the little clip that they had for the new Superman trailer it played off of the original soundtrack from Christopher Reeve. And any nod to Christopher Reeve, to me, is a really cool thing to show. Like, even in Man of Steel, I remember this vividly in theaters when I saw Man of Steel for the first time, when he's getting hit with the gravity machine, right? He looks up and the force is coming down on his face with Cavill for a half a second, maybe even a quarter of a second. He's pushed down so much where he looks like Christopher Reeve. And I'm like, that can't be a mistake. That has to be purposeful.
A nod.
And sure enough, Snyder comes and it's like, yeah, I did that with CGI just for a quarter of a second to make it look like Reeve. And then like with the new Superman, they're doing the guitar solo at the very beginning of it. It's all like the original John Williams soundtrack, I think it was, where it's like, and like it brings you home. And of course, everyone now falls in love with this fucking dog, which is Crypto, which I'm all for.
I watched that growing up, like the TV show of that.
Yeah.
Love that shit.
Oh, absolutely, dude. And I think, and that's one thing that I think that this has set up people for is hope. Like the Snyderverse was cool. It was action packed. The S stands for hope. Cool, whatever. But it's also like halfway in grayscale, and it's very dark.
Yeah.
And there's a time and a place for that. It's cool. But this is like a return to the light, where it's like, hey, he's meant to be, like he's a Kansas boy. He has these ideals. He has this moral code, this moral outlook, and the shot of him just like covering up that girl, just doing basic superhero shit.
Yeah.
Is so nice. It's so refreshing to see that. I love that.
I feel like my take for the DC trying to make their own universe is I think they went too fast, too quick. Like how Marvel, they wanted to be Marvel, but not do the steps that Marvel took.
Yeah, they took a decade with RDJ on the Iron Man series.
RDJ, Thor, like Captain America, they all had individual ones that semi-linked it.
They did, but they didn't try to set up an entire universe based off of one film.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that this film needs to be, is just be a Superman film. Don't try to set the tone for an entire universe. Make a standalone awesome film that can later connect to something bigger.
Yeah.
Which I'm very happy of.
I feel like James Gunn will do a good job, which I hate that Marvel lost him because of their own negligence.
Exactly. Hey, listen, man, James Gunn is like, he's an interesting human being.
Oh yeah.
But I think he also has a huge amount of respect for the core material for both Guardians and I think now with the new Superman and DC universe. He's got a lot of he takes a lot of nods in that trailer to classic DC stuff. Like in the shot where Clark Kent's going into the Daily Planet, there's a security guard holding a piece of, like a newspaper. And it's only for like a half a second. And in the headline that the cop is holding up, or the security guard's holding up, it's a country that starts with a B in Civil War. Barovia. And Barovia is only mentioned twice in all of DC Comics. In episode Action 7 and later down the line. And it's where Superman goes to that country and literally threatens the two leaders to kill both of those leaders if they don't have peace. And obviously that's like 1950s style Superman, where it was a little more like, haha, kind of deal. But I think also that kid who's holding up the pole is in Barovia. And that's going to be something like that. And I'm like, that kid right there is like, that tug at a lot of people's heartstrings, or he's just like chaos all around him. He's holding onto this one pylon of hope.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think that's what people need.
I am curious how they will go. I'm excited. Like I'm more of a Marvel fan than DC fan, but I will watch. I haven't seen the new Batman movie yet. I know my buddy has been telling me to watch it.
It's good.
Yeah. I had a hard time with Superman because I loved Henry Cavill a lot. Just like Henry Cavill's just an amazing human being. He's so cool, and you can tell like what he gets into. Like he is passionate about, because I love Witcher.
Lore-wise, yeah.
I love Witcher so much. Love the movie, the games. I love the books, and then the TV show. I was so excited for the first season, and then like the second season comes around. I'm like, they just fucking killed off one of the Witchers that was there at the very end.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck is going on? And then hearing Henry Cavill be like, this isn't how the books are.
Yeah. I'm excited for the Warhammer 40K series because he's met with Amazon heads and the Warhammer heads to find the starting point. And he's such a huge fucking nerd for not only The Witcher and DC and World of Warcraft, but also for 40K. That I'm like very hopeful for. And he's very lore specific.
And in Secret Level, they did a Warhammer episode.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
I've heard it's badass. I saw like a 10-second clip and I'm like, I need to watch this now.
I showed my buddy Campbell and Kyle yesterday. I showed them the D&D one, Warhammer one, Pac-Man, Outer Worlds, and Sifu episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was an Outer Worlds one. That sounds fun, because Outer Worlds was such a fun game.
Yeah, I loved Obsidian because I love Fallout New Vegas, which I hope they remake it so much. I might just at this point download a mod that
HD remasters. Yeah, dude. People do it for all sorts of Bethesda games, so you might as well. Like there was a kid a few weeks ago at the lounge who was asking if we had Fallout 4. And I was like, we don't have Fallout 4. And he's like, okay, because no one had asked for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what Fallout games do you play? He goes, Fallout 4, just that one. I'm like, you never played New Vegas? And this kid's like 13, 12, and he's definitely never played New Vegas. And I just looked on Steam, and Steam was like, had New Vegas for $5 with all the DLC. I'm like, dude, give me 5 minutes. I purchase it, make a house account for it. And I'm like, you're going to play the best Fallout game of all time right now. And he goes, okay. And he plays through it, and this kid's enthralled. He immediately kills like the robot and everything, goes on a killing spree, and then realizes that everyone hates him because of karma. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you got to learn about that. You got to figure that out. And he was like, hey, Dad, can I come back and play Fallout next week? And he's like, sure. And like those are S tier games that once people are exposed to, they're like eyes light up.
Yeah. The Armored Core episode is also good.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves is the main voice for it.
Nice.
Yeah. But speaking of Fallout, the TV show, I was so surprised how good it is.
I was really worried about it. And then David Goggins or whatever his name is, not Goggins, but you know who I'm talking about. Cool. Yeah. And he was fucking amazing. Like Walter Goggins. That's who it is. Because I watched him from Justified, and he was fucking awesome as Boyd Crowder. And he comes in and just is an absolute gunslinging badass in that show. I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit about the main character now. Could not give a fuck.
It's such a good, like, I'm always weary about like adaptations, which they're doing better and better the more they actually lean into the source material. But the Fallout was really good to the point where I told my parents to watch it. I'm like, trust me on it.
Yeah.
It was the same as like Last of Us. I love The Last of Us, and I've gotten in so many arguments about Last of Us too. Because people would be mad, like, what do you mean Joel died in the first 5 seconds? It's been out for years. Get over it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we saw Ellie grown up.
Yeah.
And this is a world where you don't slip into death quietly. No. Like, you will get your head beat in with a 9-iron.
Right. I just wish he would have gone out more heroically. Like, more of who people kind of recognize Joel for. And I think a lot of people, like, even if, like, they're still happy with the overall game, I think a lot of people, just in terms of just respect to the character, would have been like, it would have been cool to see him really go out like a real cowboy, like a real hero.
I will.
But I get that.
I'll play devil's advocate.
Go for it.
You wouldn't get respect in a world that is lacking of respect.
True.
Yeah.
True, but you have to make your own at the end of the day. And I think the majority of like the civilizations, when they interacted with Joel, they understood what kind of man he was. And in terms of that relationship that he had with Ellie, I think like a final send-off would have been like, hey, he's going to sacrifice himself, which he was ready to do all throughout game one for the most part, to finally fulfill that, hey, I have to let you go. You're a grown woman now. You have to fend out for yourself in the world, but I'll give you this last gift of my life to allow you to be able to make it out.
Yeah, I get
that though, but I like your breakdown of that though. I like your devil's advocate point there.
I did like the end of the game because like the whole game when you're playing with Ellie, you saw like them clash and them stop talking because of that. It was so nice at the end where you just saw the final clip of them talking it out, like like that was nice closure for it.
No, 100%. I like that.
Where love Last of Us, and when we swapped over to Abby, I was like, don't make me like this bitch.
Yeah.
I was so upset that I'm like, fuck, I actually...
What were people fucking freaking out about with Abby? Was it because she was that the Jack chick?
Yeah, Abby was the Jack chick. They're more upset about her little partner. Yeah. Because the partner was trans, basically. Like, it was like the old...
up.
Yeah. It was like the old shaved head, like, there's duties that women are supposed to have in the society, so they shave their head to look like a dude. That type of thing. I didn't care. It's the same. If you didn't hear it, you missed it. Same as the first one with Bill being gay. Yeah. Like, which I loved how they did on that episode of it.
Oh yeah, dude. That was a great episode. People fucking cried about that stuff because it was so. And then, who's the actor who plays
Nick Offerman?
What a great actor. He kind of like he had really great chemistry with his co-actor on that and went really well. The only time that I ever have problem with stuff like that is like when it's uber forced or it's like or you can just be a good character, an interesting character
If it doesn't
that is
feel
not
genuine.
right, or just don't be a genuine pain in the ass. Because I'm not gonna hate you because you're this kind of character, but just because you're a genuine pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like Lori from The Walking Dead. You're a fucking absolute cunt. I hate you. Get away. I hope you die. I can't wait till you die. Okay, cool. This kid now just became a motherless child. But guess what? She was a bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck her. Like I don't care what way you swing the fence. If you're a piece of shit character, I cannot wait for you to be gone.
But that's the same like Joffrey thing. Like Joffrey was such a good character and you hated him.
Yes.
Like you have
just now getting back into acting because
Yeah.
people were giving him so much shit for being a piece of shit. He
Yeah.
was that good of an actor.
Yeah, you have to have like a character that you just absolutely hate. Like Modern Warfare 2, I hated Shepard.
Yeah.
Like he gave like weird vibes, but like the moment like Roach and Ghost are going through, they're getting out, they're saved by it. It's just
One must do better.
domed. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Even like Makarov was such a like vile but great character.
No Russian.
Yeah. I saw there was like things for the new Black Ops be like there's a 9/11 scene. Like there was like things online people saying that
God, there's no way.
there isn't.
There's no fucking way. Dude, here's the thing. Even in regular film and cinema, it is really hard. 20 years, 23 years at this point, being separated from that event, it is very hard to tie in 9/11 as a plot point.
Yeah.
For any movie. Even if like it's a documentary, people are still kind of uneasy because it's a fucked up moment where a lot of bad shit happened and everything like is a huge domino effect, right?
Yeah.
I still remember like being in like 2nd or 3rd grade, getting like everyone being put in this one classroom, people wheeling in a TV with the rabbit ears, and it's all staticky, and all of a sudden you see this little 2 or 3 pixels fly into this tower and fucking fireball, and then like 2 hours later you hear like, and it's people just jumping.
Yeah.
I'm 2nd or 3rd grade. I don't know what's going on, and now that I do, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So it's hard for those moments for people to kind of like want to see that at all, even as a plot point or as a storyline. It's hard.
It's just like World War II, like Saving Private Ryan. Like D-Day was so gruesome, and you have to do it correctly to serve it justice. Like Saving Private Ryan did like the visceralness of it perfectly, where like no one said it was bad because how they made it. So like if you're tackling something like that, you have to fucking hit it out of the park.
Right. And at the same time, you have to understand that like the international consequence of making something historically accurate, because there's typically a villain on that side. Like I remember watching a video of what was it? There'll be like images of Japanese people going to go watch Oppenheimer. Like, how the fuck do you contemplate that? Or like just last night I watched a video of people coming out of the theater. It was Germans walking out of the theater watching Schindler's List for the first time, and there's just tears pouring out of their eyes of how just like horrible it was. And I'm like, it wasn't your fault. You didn't fucking do it. But at the same time, there is a seed of something that's planted emotionally and psychologically that you can't really fucking get rid of with a fucking shot of vodka. It's not, dude. You have to contemplate that shit.
Yeah.
But that's how good cinematography can impact people. From like a movie like Schindler's List to E.T. to the Justice League Snyder edition to
Or even the soundtrack in How to Train Your Dragons.
yeah, dude.
Like the Riders of Berk, that soundtrack, there is a thing for music that when they feel like it is the perfect store,
Yeah.
they will carve it on a stone tablet. The only modern one is the Riders of Berk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love, like, scores are so important, like you mentioned. Like, even the initial trailer of the Snyder Cut, when you heard Hallelujah, I was like, that's deep. That's pretty good. Like, and, like, even with, like we said, Guardians of the Galaxy with their score, it's incredibly impactful. And it can go from, like, classic rock to, like, a light harmony, even something that's, like, fading in the background. It can turn a movie from an okay movie to an absolute tearjerker. Just by allowing an emotional scene to have an emotional connection with a song that potentially has a an entirely different level of emotional connection with someone, whether it be personally or culturally. It is a hard job for people to pull that off, but when they do, holy shit, is it good.
It's even like going back to movies. If like the audio is off, it ruins the movie. You can have the video be so bad and like Blair Witch, like you can have like that like crackly whatever. If the audio is off, people notice that immediately.
Yeah. I mean, even that crackliness can add to that too. Like that little like, because you feel like, oh, this is something that's homemade and it's genuine, and it's like the whole point of Blair Witch was to be like, this is like a discovered footage.
Yeah.
So the quality of it is not going to be good. Like, what was that movie in? It was like a found footage movie of like an alien attacking New York, and Cloverfield. Like that was the first found footage movie I remember going like, holy shit, was that crazy? Because there's no audio, there's no music to that. It's all found footage, right? And then being like turning on the night vision from seeing like all the fucking crazy ass aliens in the subway right behind you and being like, oh shit, we gotta run. And like you hear, like you just see like running, like the camera just going across the ground. You don't see what's happening, but you hear the screams.
Yeah.
You hear the aliens making noise. You hear bone crunching. Like, that's terrifying alone. Like, same with Paranormal Activity. Had a fucking budget of, like, what, $25,000 or something? Makes hundreds of millions of dollars.
Or A Quiet Place and Bird Box. Like, that is all... Like, Bird Box was, like, interesting. I watched it, like, as the hype was going off of it, being like, let me see what this is.
Yeah.
It is a pretty interesting movie, even, like, with everyone having to blindfold and that stuff. Even Quiet Place, I thought it was interesting that, like, oh yeah, that would make sense in a place where no one can talk. Everyone does sign language.
Yeah. The prequel was okay too. I like that one.
I haven't seen the prequel yet. I'm so terrible about watching movies.
There's just too much shit out there. There's way too much shit. Like, I'm trying to finish off the last episode of The Penguin, and which definitely recommend. If you do end up watching The Batman, watch the Penguin series right after. It's awesome. It's like Sopranos level kind of like crime style. It's so good.
Creature Commandos does feed into Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah, okay, because Flair's son, that connection right there.
Flair's dad,
that's what I meant.
And then the Weasel is also.
Because he survived.
Yep.
He survived that scene. I think that was in episode 1 when they were assembling the team.
It's cool to see that, like, animation to, like, live action and that stuff. We've been going for about 2:30.
Okay, cool. We can rock and roll, man.
Do you have any parting words? Talk about Reforged a little bit.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, if you want to check out a cool new gaming-themed spot in Charleston, Reforged Gaming Lounge. We're at 8484 Dorchester Road in North Charleston. 20 PCs, bunch of consoles with really comfy couches, full bar and kitchen, legacy ledge, tabletop, and D&D stuff. We're doing events all the time. This coming week, we're doing on Friday, I think, a Helldivers event, and then Sunday, we're streaming anime every Sunday, starting off from that. So come check us out. Thank you so much for having me, man. It was a fun show.
Anytime.
It's been a while since I got to podcast, but no, dude, it got my juice. Once I started back in, it got the juices flowing. I was like, I like this. I remember the bar style kind of like interviews. I love that.
Oh yeah, it's a so relaxed interview where, like, people that come on and never done podcasts before, I'm like, you're fine, just have a drink. Bullshit. They're like, we don't have anything to talk about. I'm like, trust me.
You need a chair. That's what you need.
Oh, I got this. I'm fine.
I'm about to say, it's like you've been standing for like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, no, like most of the time I just sit on the trash can. You'll see me over here, like, I have some whimsy kicking my legs.
Yeah.
But no, like, I either stand or, like, sit on the trash can. That's about it. I actually got this from my old restaurant. It's stuck around. It's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, check out Reforged. Their link for their Instagram and everything will be in the description. Even if you don't live in Charleston, give them a follow.
Thank you.
Support their stuff. Or if you travel to Charleston, grab a drink. Really good alcohol. Trust me. They just got mead, and I had that yesterday with a little, like, cup.
Yeah, dude.
It's amazing.
Brooke sent us those little glasses for free because they're just for the mead. And I was like, oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Because they usually put in, like, one of those glasses or, like, wine glasses to air it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, that YouTube bullshit, whatever it is. I'm on it now.
All that good stuff.
Buy my t-shirts, too.
There you go. Get the merch!
Yep.